Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another round of the Discord Racing Association IEC, and it is the FUELCAN.SHOP 3 hours of Daytona. So we're going to get ready for 3 hours of intense multi-class action here today. It is going to be a lot of fun here. 3 hours around this very historic racing circuit. We are a bit delayed. There was some lobby setting errors and also a qualifying lobby crash on my side with the GT3s. So a bit of a delay getting into this, but once we get these drivers in, we should get them in their grid spots, and then we're going to go ahead and send this race live for 3 hours around the Daytona International Speedway here in Central Florida. It is going to be a lot of fun. It's essentially my home track. Born and raised in this sunshine state, despite the fact there's not a bit of sunshine to be seen here. But looking at the weather, we are expected to see a little bit of sun here at some point, but otherwise it's just going to remain cloudy for the duration of the race. No rain is expected here because, well, unfortunately, and as a Florida native, I find this pretty shocking. Daytona doesn't have rain as an option, so that is a bit of a surprising one, considering that in Florida it's got the most temperamental weather probably in most of the US. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and get things rolling here very shortly. Once again, my name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekkas. I'll be your host and commentator for today's race here at the Discord Racing Association. It is going to be, I'm looking forward to this. 3 hours. It's a long race of attrition. There are no stints. So no stints. Everybody's pretty much going for 3 hours straight. And these drivers are gonna have a tough time of it today. Daytona is it's a tricky track. But for different reasons than some other tracks that are on the calendar. It's tricky for different reasons than the prologue, say, in good old Barcelona. The thing that makes this track tricky is that you pretty much have to adapt to two different driving styles or two different racing styles just to go ahead and navigate this circuit to its best. So pretty much how it's gonna go is you have to deal with a lot of the oval banked corners like you would see in NASCAR. And like this track is used for the Daytona 500, but also you have to use a good amount of road course ethics, especially through the international horseshoes. Lots of good places for overtaking here, and traffic management should be relatively easy compared to some of the circuits that we are going to head to later on in the season for the LMP1 category. So it's a good place to get some good overtakes. You'll be doing a lot of drafting here, so especially through a lot of the ovals. Probably the trickiest set of corners is that Sector 1 horseshoe. And then you have the bus stop chicane, obviously, which can be a pretty good spot for overtaking, but also a pretty healthy spot to get penalties when it comes to Gran Turismo. So yeah, if you've got a penalty here on this circuit, 9 times out of 10 it will be through that bus stop chicane. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm not sure exactly who is on pole for LMP1 just yet. It might be Lennon, currently in P1. The grid still has yet to be set. And I do share the sentiment of Ruben in chat. Good luck, everybody. LMP1s, please no touchy today. I mean, that's a pretty valid concern, but there's a good amount of racetrack here to go ahead and for these GT3 cars to allow these LMP1s through, and then a lot of space for these LMP1s to get a good chance at moving around. So I think in general there's still going to be carnage. I mean, I would be pretty surprised if there wasn't some sort of carnage when it comes to 3 hours around the circuit. And also it's multi-class racing. Traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. So if there's traffic in any given race, you can expect it to pretty much be a case of give and take. Traffic can cause some issues around the circuit, but luckily for the LMP1s, there's a lot of opportunities to go ahead and adjust it. I think we do have our grids just about set up, so I was right. It is a finish pole in both LMP1 and LMGT. So with Londonen and Rantanen taking poles in their respective classes. No Nissan this time around. If you guys remember from, I think it was 2 weeks ago when we did the prologue in Barcelona, there was a Nissan Nismo LMP1 car, which was very unique but not very competitive, kind of like the real world example. It does burn through tires very quickly because it is a front wheel drive hypercar, which is a very weird thing to kind of think about, considering all of them are all-wheel drive nowadays, with a few being rear wheel. But yeah, it's unfortunate, Ruben, that you were unable to race today. Hopefully we'll see you next time out. And speaking of, while we're still waiting for, I think we're just waiting for things to go on and get set up. So I think that's pretty much what we're just waiting on. While we're waiting on that, I'll pretty much bring you guys up to speed with the rest of the calendar for the season. Next race is not 9 minutes, imagine. It's a 90-minute race around the Nürburgring GP. And that's about all the time we have, because we're about to go ahead and get started with the race here today. So let's go ahead and get things on the road. It is a formation lap, so we won't get fully started just yet. There is a formation lap that does need to take place, so we're gonna go ahead and just take care of that. There we go. Now we're gonna go ahead and get ready to launch. And we are underway for the formation lap here, so the drivers will get a good chance to go ahead and get those tires heated up and ready to launch. So once again, tire warmth is going to be crucial here. It is the first points paying race of the season, and this race is brought to you by FUELCAN.SHOP. If you want to go ahead and support us here at the Discord Racing Association, head over to FUELCAN.SHOP, and I'm asked to thank you to our partners over there for sponsoring today's race. It's going to be a lot of fun here. I mean, it's always a fun time when you go multi-class racing here in Gran Turismo, and particularly at Daytona. So the music is going to go ahead and fade on out, and we're going to go ahead and get ready for racing here in Daytona. Seeing a lot of support for a lot of various drivers here in chat, which is always fantastic to see. So we're gonna go ahead and this is not the representative pace for obvious reasons. There's a lot of drivers. Obviously all the drivers are still going through the formation lap. We will be underway here pretty shortly, as this is a 3-hour long race, so you'll get a lot of racing action. It's gonna be tricky, it's gonna be difficult, but the end result is gonna be so rewarding here. As we are soon to get underway, the cars are going to go ahead and do their dance, go to get everything lined up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the field as we go ahead and get things started here. It is Londonen on pole for the LMP1 field in the Audi, and then in the fellow Audi we have Bolden, and then we have Marione, Seahill, I almost called him Chill, and then Ikonen, Ray Racer, and Grotto. I've been told that I have to pronunciate my R's when I mention this driver, so thanks for giving me at least a little bit of a pronunciation guide, Mr. Grotto. And then we have in the GT3s we have Rantanen, Zozo, Sparkane, the Racer. I will try to pronounce that correctly at some point. I may mispronounce it, I do apologize. DJ Games, Astro, and Method rounding out our grid here today. So we have 14 cars on track. There is an onboard steward, I believe, so I think we have 7 in each class. So it is Cameron Hill. Alright, thank you so much, Ruben, for the clarification. I'll try to remember that. I'll try to commit that to memory. But yeah, so it's pretty much on the backstretch now. So pretty much now, once we go ahead and get ready, everybody can just send it. That is a very good question. I know one driver got knocked out due to qualifying because we did need a spot for the commentator. And I'm assuming the other spot went to the steward, is what I'm assuming is happening here. So we pretty much go whenever London goes ahead and goes. It is NASCAR rules, funny enough, for the restart, or for any restart, and also for just getting started with today's race. So these drivers will go side by side here, going through the final corner out of the backstretch. And I believe as soon as we hit that penalty line, we're going to go ahead and get racing here. So we're going to wait for these drivers to go ahead and floor it. Still making a crawl to the line. We're going to go ahead and just wait and see. We're going to get underway here very, very shortly. As soon as London goes, the rest of the field is going to go. And it is underway. We are racing now here at the 3 Hours of Daytona. And that is a mighty fine launch there from Lennon. It is very good. And we actually have some battling here between Marione and Cameron Hill just directly behind. And now Ray Racer is going to go ahead and try to move up some positions here in the early stages of this race. CLR doing some good work here. Cameron Hill falling back just a little bit. Conan now is going to go ahead and try to maybe make a move here. Lots of drivers going ahead and fighting at will. We have a car in the back. There is a car in the backfield. I'm gonna have to double check and see if that's damage or not. No damage. So that will not be a safety car, but that was a pretty hefty spin there from DJ Games. Let's see if we can get a replay of that, see what happens here. So, we caught it kind of right at the end, but yeah. No damage on his car, so we are still good for racing. No damage on the car ahead either. So, London actually doing very good to go ahead and get started here in this race. We're going to jump through the GT3 field for a bit. Rantanen has got Zozo for company. It is the battle of the German machines here in GT3. You have the Mercedes leading the Audi. Both of these drivers are going to go ahead and fight. And there's actually two Audis. The teammates actually, both of the French drivers, Sparkane and Zozo, just directly behind. Now jumping back up to the LMP field. And we go ahead and begin our first, or complete our first racing lap. The time to beat right now is a 1:35.502 for the LMPs. That is the overall fastest lap, and we're seeing some really strong racing here in the opening stages of this race. About 5 minutes into the race. So very good stuff here. We've had only about one racing lap due to the formation lap kicking in, but we've had some pretty good starts here. We'll see. So we'll just check on through the rest of the field as we see some pretty decent battles coming up here in GT3. And ooh, looks like the teammates might be going out of here soon. Sparkane and Zozo, and actually it looks like even two further teammates just a few spots behind of the racer and his teammate just up ahead of Astro. The two Sydney Sweeney, I believe that is Sydney Sweeney. I feel like I got this wrong last time. And the two teammates come to blows. The short and sweet Mercedes, making sure that there's a little bit of contact, a little bit of teammate rivalry here. They need some sort of papaya rules essentially for these teammates. They are battling it out here. Very close battles between these Mercedes. And it has been a good start for quite a few of these drivers up and down the grid. Method still trying to get close, but he's losing time to the drafting Mercedes just up ahead. And maybe we won't see these guys battle. Maybe we'll see them work together. It looks like though the racer was trying to make an overtake into the bus stop chicane, so it could have been a bit dicey. Heading back up here to the LMP1s, seeing some pretty close racing here as well. Bolden and Mirone just tailing Lennon just barely, but they got a very strong gap to Carato and everybody behind. Carato's actually had a really good start though. He is in P5 at the moment. A very good start. Now he's pretty much right on the heels of Conan. We'll see if he can. He's getting very close. It's an interesting contrast because he is in the Porsche compared to the Audi up ahead. Now the Porsche does operate on a bit of a different drivetrain style compared to the Audi. The Porsche runs on a flywheel, so it actually gains a bit of energy through some of its acceleration compared to the Audi that gains it on braking. So, let's see, we might have something here in the back. It's still DJ Games still trying to recover from his spin early on. The rest of this field looks fine. No damage, which is the thing I'm pretty much checking for. Ray Racer is really falling quite a ways back though, so CLR not having the greatest start to this race. So CLR, actually, Chad is saying something might have happened with Ray Racer, so let's see if anything did happen. Going through the chicane, no, we must have just, oh, that's a little bit of a track cut there. So we didn't miss a whole lot to my knowledge, but oh, here we go, here's a battle. This is for P7 and P6. Ray Racer trying to fire it up the inside into the International Horseshoe. A little bit of bumping, a little bit of trading paint here between the two Audis. And we'll see if CLR can go ahead and make this happen onto Cameron Hill. And I think CLR's got it. I think he's got it. So the number 5 car of CLR, I think he does have that position locked in, at least for now. But this is a track where slipstream is very prevalent, so it'll be very easy to try to retake this position here. But it is a very long race. It is 3 hours of racing, so you pretty much got to pick your moment and learn to conserve, because I mean, you got to play the long game here. You can go on a bit of an aggressive strategy and learn a little bit, but for the most part, it's just not going to play out super well in your favor. Let's jump back here because there's some pretty close battles here in GT3. Once again, it's teammates kind of battling it out. Astro has fallen a little bit down. Must have had a wide moment there. Still no damage on the car, so no cause for a safety car yet. Hopefully we don't get one today, but I feel like we might, just considering it is a very grueling race here. It is 3 hours, which is quite a lot, especially if you're not doing any driver swaps or taking any breaks. Just 3 hours straight of racing throughout Daytona. It could be a bit of a taxing one, to say the least. So we'll jump back up here. And I mean, Rantanen's got a very good lead here. The two Audis are probably going to have to try to work together in the areas where they can reliably draft, which is pretty much a lot of the oval parts of the circuit, to try to catch up to Rantanen just up the road, about 3 seconds up the road. It is a personal best lap though for Zozo, going 100, almost 150 miles an hour through the oval. You can just hear that beautiful Audi R8 V10 just roaring through Daytona. It is pretty cloudy here, so temperatures are going to be pretty cool. So the tire degradation won't be as potent as it can be. But let's check back in with our LMP1s here. The Phoenix competitive machine of Marione. Just ahead of Bolden. He did get the pass done on the Bolden at some point. This driver taking a lot of liberty with a lot of room on the circuit, trying to navigate that bus stop chicane. It is tricky to make it through there without getting a penalty of some sort. And if you see the please refuel thing up here on your screen, these cars are definitely not out of fuel yet. That is just an unfortunate bug with the replay system here in Gran Turismo. It's a bug that I wish they'd fix, but unfortunately that just isn't the case here at the moment. So take a look at some of the other drivers in the field. We have the Racer here trying to catch back up to his teammate. Actually, no, his teammate's trying to catch back up to him. So we're about to potentially see, probably at some point this lap, we're going to start seeing the first hints of that lap traffic. Oh, that's a moment. We got to check on who that is. C-Hill making it through somehow with no damage. So let's get a replay and see what happened there. So here we go. Oh, it's just a little bit of contact between him and Garado. Oh, actually, no, he just got spun on his own. I want to look at that again because I don't think we got a super good look from that perspective. Let's change cameras here a bit. Yeah, just a bit too much throttle there on the exit, so that's going to go ahead and give him a little bit of the spin as we hop back to the short and sweet car. Oh, it's Sabrina Carpenter, so I actually got the wrong pop singer. I feel like I would have been crucified for that if I said that, like if I was out of college and I got that mistake. So apologies to any Sydney Sweeney or Sabrina Carpenter fans. I got the wrong blonde. But anyways, back to the important topics here. So Bolden and Mirone are in a pretty decent battle right now. Bolden is still pretty far off, but oh, we have a GT3 car pitting in. So a few of these drivers are making pit stops already. Interesting, because they don't have damage. There's no damage, because with how Gran Turismo works, you would... If there's damage, you do the fuel, you do the tires, and then you fix the damage. So that's an interesting thing to note about these drivers already making pit stops! And oh, we're going to need a replay to see what happened there. I don't see damage, but we'll see what happens here. So they're going through the International Horseshoe, and there's Garada behind. Garada's flashing, trying to let him know, and oh, just runs right into the back of him. And then he just goes wide. It gets forced off the track there by Garada. So that's rough. I can't really put I was gonna say I can't really put fault on the racer there, because I just don't think that was really his fault. We need to see if Garada's got damage. No, he doesn't have damage, so no damage on that LMP1 car. So I feel like that should have caused front aero damage. Luckily it didn't, but I mean he got away with that one, definitely. Could have been a lot worse for both parties, really. So and then we have CLR going ahead and making his way through. He's going to be under pressure from Garada here soon, but he wants to put pressure on Ikonen, because that's where the money is right now. That's where he wants to be. He wants to be at least getting closer to the podium spots, like these drivers here. So we're going to see a potential battle of the Audis between Mirone and Bolden, the Nexus Racing driver, chasing down the Phoenix competition car, and now they're very, very close. They're going to battle it out here, and the best chance for Bolden to really get a move done here is going to be on that oval. So we'll see if the pass is going to happen. We'll jump on board now with the American driver as he makes his way through the oval, through what would be known as, I believe, turn 3 on the NASCAR version of this track. He's going to go ahead and tuck right in. He didn't really gain as much as I was expecting him to, so maybe trying to wait until he's got a better shot. Maybe trying to wait until the next backstretch here. So we'll see. He's going to go around the last corner on the track and on the oval. They're going to both get past this Audi R8 with no issues, and then they're going to go ahead and just jump back out. And once again, they will continue their battle, but I wonder if it's due to setups, maybe, because Mirone, he was a bit faster, but now traffic is going to really play a factor in this, as Bolden and Zozo have a little bit of contact. It's just a really awkward corner to get stuck with traffic, and now a gap that was just about 0.2, about 0.3 last time around is now 1.3 seconds of a difference. That is why traffic management is so crucial on this track. Luckily, there's a lot of good spots to get traffic to go ahead and let you through, but this part right here is just so tricky because it's so tight, so narrow. It's the most technical part of the track, but the GT3 leader does get out of the way for Bolden. Gonna take a little bit of a burden off of the shoulders of the Finnish driver, currently P8 overall in that Zenith Racing Mercedes. He's got a very good gap to Zozo and Sparkane behind, so very good gap indeed. They are being blue flagged. There are some LMP cars just behind, ready to go ahead and jump in. So we will go ahead and watch as these LMP2 or LMP1, sorry, go ahead and make their way on through. And it's actually pretty interesting to note that Zozo isn't, I mean, he's losing a bit of time, but not a whole ton of time, because we know that Mercedes loves to thrive when it comes to high speed. So any track with higher speeds, he is going to go ahead and just have a pretty solid advantage. An interesting thing worth noting is that I think this is on accident, but Zenith is doing something that a lot of BMW drivers in America don't do, and actually use a turn signal So very interesting stuff. Not sure why you would have had to use that turn signal. Maybe there's something in the rules that I missed, but he's still being blue flagged. There is a fast approaching LMP1, which is, I believe, Garado. Yeah, it is Garado, or Grado, as I should pronunciate the R's more on that, as I've been told. But still, it is very good racing here. This traffic is actually going to kind of help Rance in and out a bit, I would think, unless he gets punted. Oh, the Italian driver having a bit of, going a bit wide there, and maybe a bit deep, just trying to get past this Mercedes quickly enough to try to run away from Cameron Hill. But that was a bit of a bump there. BMW and turn signals, I know, trust me. Especially in South Florida where I'm at, it is like, it's not even a BMW issue at this point. It's like just, so if you ever come to South Florida for any reason, which in by South Florida, I don't mean Daytona, because Daytona is kind of right in the middle of the state. You have to go a bit further south, about 2.5 hours south of Daytona to get to where the drivers really start being problematic. I think I have seen more BMWs use turn signals in my college town than I have actually anybody overall using turn signals here in Southern Florida. Which is a terrifying statistic, but you get the idea. So anyways, we're going to jump back into the racing action here so far. The LMP cars are on lap 12, the GT cars are on lap 11. But something must have happened here with Lenonen, because Lenonen is now actually, that gap is closed up quite considerably. Both drivers are on the same compound of tires. They're both on those mediums. So now they're going to go ahead and make their way through. The Audi does have a very good speed advantage. And I think it's got a good speed advantage, and it also has a really good advantage when it comes to the brakes. Or not to the brakes, to the battery. There is a trick you can do. Someone I know who is a Super Formula driver, who races in Super Formula leagues, told me about how there is a trick to managing these LMP cars where it can really mitigate how much battery you lose. I think it's something with like left foot braking, essentially, where you're running the brake and the gas at the same time. But here's a interesting call. We have a pit stop already from Marione making a pit stop now in his Audi, so he's gonna try for an undercut. His tires don't really look scuffed by any stretch. So interesting that some of these drivers are opting to call the pits early. Maybe trying to spend less time in the pits, maybe? That's the only thing I could potentially think of. Just looking through, still no damage on any cars, which is really awesome to see. I love to see the fact that there is no damage on any of these cars. I mean, these drivers have been there's been some dicey moments, but they have been very, very gentle with each other today. A few moments between the LMPs and the GT3s, but you're going to get those pretty much consistently when you're racing in a multi-class race. It doesn't even matter what track. It could be Daytona, it could be Interlagos, it could be Deep Forest, it could be the Nürburgring, which we're heading to next round, it could be Monaco. It doesn't matter. Any kind of multi-class race you do, you're going to run into traffic, and you're probably going to see at least a touch and go between a LMP and a GT3. So we're currently on lap number 13 out of X number. They're going to go to get around the bright white Ferrari of DJ Games, and it'll be CLR and Akonen doing battle yet again. It is more Audi on Audi violence here in Daytona. He's got a good slipstream. Does he have a good move? He's got a lot of real estate. This is one corner that you can really fire it around the outside and get a really good move in here, but I think Akonen just ran out of real estate to try to make the move this lap. He might be able to get it after you go through the horseshoes, but it's such a tricky, I mean, you can even get it done in the horseshoes if you're brave enough, or if you take that really off, like, shortcut line. I'm not sure why that line even exists. I want to say it's part of the older layout, or might even be part of the MotoGP or Superbike layout, because I think Superbike America comes to Daytona. So I'm actually gonna research that real quick, because I'm actually pretty curious on why that curve is there. Maybe it's just an extra runoff. Not too sure. So it is used for the motorcycle course. I looked it up. So that smaller line that we saw, actually we'll see if... So pretty much the line just on the inside of the corner that Zozo and Sparkane went through, there's a tighter inside line that is used for motorbike racing. So Superbike and I think Superbike America is what it's called. I'm not as well versed in motorcycle motorsports as I am with racing series that offer 4 wheels, but it is still worth noting that MotoGP and adjacent series do use some interesting layouts. While we're going to go ahead and while the race is kind of settling into its end right now, we might have some drivers kind of battling it out here soon. Ray Racer is going ahead and giving the lights to the current race leader in GT3, pushing him a bit wide, but once again, in that international horseshoe, it's such a pain to really try to get overtakes done here, so it is really tricky to get moves done, especially around lap traffic, as Ray Racer looks like. They have a bit of a snap there. So the LMP field is spread out pretty nicely. Some drivers have pit, some have not. Zozo actually is in the race lead for GT, so that means Rantanen did pit a bit earlier. It's interesting to know that there's some drivers really only using half of the resource before swapping, like half the fuel and about a quarter of the tires before switching out. So that's the interesting thing about these like multi-hour races, is that there's a lot of different strategies that you could employ here that would actively kind of work, but it's so hard to kind of plan for this kind of race, because in a typical GT race you have your, or I guess in a shorter, like more 1 hour or hour and a half GT race, you'd say like, oh, you can pit in at this lap and that's pretty much, you're pretty much good to go for the rest of the race. You're going to have to make several pit stops here in this multi-hour extravaganza. So multi-hour. I mean, this is a 3-hour race, so you got to come up with a strategy that can last you for 3 hours. So you have to plan probably about 3 or 4 times as many stints, I would imagine. Granted, I'm not a race engineer or strategist. There's definitely a lot better people in that department, but I'm sure these drivers have put in hours of practice getting ready for this one. Because, I mean, Daytona in itself, doing like 1 hour Daytona can be very tricky, because it's a very high-speed track, and also you gotta really dodge traffic constantly, whether you're an LMP1 getting through traffic or you're a GT3 trying to avoid traffic. And then you always gotta worry about the car directly behind you, if it's a car in your class, having a very strong slipstream. So this race is physically and mentally taxing, to say the least. So the field is pretty far spread out. I think the only exception to this field being spread out are the 2 teammates in GT3 already in P1 and P2 in class. So I think that's really the only closest quote battle we have here at the moment. But that is kind of the case when it comes to these multi-class endurance races, is that just drivers and teams kind of spread out a bit. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the International Endurance Championship calendar for Season 3. We had the prologue a few weeks ago on August 9th at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Beautiful track with a lot of beautiful racing. We raced at the no chicane layout, which was a joy to watch, as we see Lennon having some joy that these GT3 cars are really not going to be in any trouble, because this is the last one. And then, oh, a little bit of a touch and go between Lennon and Zozo. I'll check in on Zozo to make sure he doesn't have any kind of damage. He doesn't. His tires are looking a bit worse for wear though, but that's not exactly, I wouldn't really call that damage per se, but could have been a lot worse. But taking a look at the rest of the calendar, we are at the 3 hours of Daytona. It's brought to you by FUELCAN.SHOP. And then it is 90 minutes of the Nürburgring around the GP layout. And then we go to 2 hours of Spa, the 5th annual 3 hours of Le Mans. And then we go to 2 hours of the Glen, 90 minutes of Monza, 90 minutes of Sao Paulo, 90 minutes of Fuji, and then the 2 hours of Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta. So we have a lot of fun tracks here lined up. So basically, to re-summarize it, we started up Catalunya, now we're in Daytona, and then we go to the Nürburgring GP, Spa, the Circuit de la Sarthe, Watkins Glen, Monza, Interlagos, Fuji Speedway, and then we wrap things up here on November 29th at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta in Georgia. So a lot of fun racing here. You guys are definitely not going to want to miss it, but we also do have the WGTC also jumping on in. Let's take a look at their calendar as well, because it'll be on the same channel. It is their first season of this actually, so actually it is September 6th is their next race. It is the FUELCAN.SHOP 3 hours of Spa, and it's a similar race to this one, just with exclusively GT3s. So you get more of this GT3 action, as Mirone does have a bit of a moment there with Method Jr. So let's go to get that on replay real quick, just to get a better idea of what happened there. So is it just another case of trying to overtake at the International Horseshoe? Yes, it is, pretty much. Long story short, International Horseshoe does cause a little bit of problems when you're an LMP car trying to overtake and trying to chase after your rivals. But we already did do the Bathurst 2 hours, so that race is already done and dusted for the World GT Challenge. We have the prologue in Brands Hatch. And then we go to 90 minutes of Laguna Seca, 3 hours of the Nürburgring, and this is the full Nürburgring layout. And then the Suzuka 2 hours. So that is pretty much your schedule for the rest of what we have going on here. I know we have the International Club and Challenge, but there has not been a new schedule announced for the next season of that. So it is going to be the GT Challenge and the International Endurance Challenge, which is what we have here. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a quick step aside. We're going to do an onboard lap with we'll do an onboard lap with an LMP car, as we're about 30 minutes into this race. We're going to actually go jump on board with Lennon, and we will be right back. we are back. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the sights and sounds of our current overall race leader just lapping around Daytona. It is we just saw that he's had some very good consistency throughout. But going to do another quick run through our field. It is Lennon in P1 at the moment. And then we have Bolden, then we have CLR, Idkonen, Cameron Hill, Garatto, and then we have Mirone wrapping up our our LMP1 field. And then heading to GT3s, it is a 1-2 for Sparkane and Zozo. Zozo and Sparkane in P1 and P2 respectively. And then we have the Racer in P3. Method in P4, Astro in P5, Rantanen in P6. Oh, we have a crash. We have a crash indeed, and it is a safety car. Safety car. So that is our first safety car. And Garano is back off the track. Let's go ahead and see if we can see what happened to him here, but oh, he already had damage at that point, so safety car is out. The safety car is out. So we're gonna go in and wait for this field to bunch up. Override? Have we been overridden in terms of the what? Okay, interesting. Alright, well, the steward has said otherwise, so, so typically in the rulebook, if you have 2 points of damage, it's supposed to be a safety car, but that was overridden, apparently, by the steward, so, interesting. I'll have to hear about the decisions on that one later, but I feel like that really should have been a safety car still, all things considered. But we're back to green flag racing nevertheless. It did close the gap up to Lennon in here, so apparently it's because more cars need to be damaged for a full safety car to come out, which previously I'm pretty sure we have done, where if one car had 2 points of damage, it was a safety car. But it's the race director, I'm the commentator, so the race director says go, so thankfully we are back to green flag conditions. So we're going to go ahead and continue on. No safety car. Well, we had a very temporary safety car, but this is going to allow some of these drivers to go ahead and jump into the pits, as Bolden is going to go ahead and make his way into the pits to go ahead. He's pretty low on fuel, so he'll swap out tires too. You might as well. It's a long race, so no sense in just losing more pace over the tires being burned out. So we're going to go ahead and we'll see, because a few drivers have yet to pit in still. I think a majority of this field is actually still yet to pit. But once again, there isn't explicitly a pit stop requirement, but you're not going to make the entire race without making a pit stop. There's just no way. Another case of GT3 and LMP1 coming together. So that makes things a bit interesting, but thankfully, once again, not enough damage to cause a safety car. So Bolden is going to go ahead and get to about 85% fuel, and he's going to go ahead and jump out. Sorry, just taking a bit of a drink here, but we're going to go ahead and get back to racing action here. This field is still pretty far spread out. Most of the cars that are really close together are just LMP cars getting through this lapped traffic of GT3s. As we see another case of it here as Idkonen goes ahead and gets past Astro. But, we might see actually a pretty good battle here if Method in the Lexus can make the catch. He might be able to benefit if he can benefit from some of the slipstream off of the Audi LMP that just passed him, but then again, he's already passed the racer. Now we're seeing Astro come into the pits on 5% fuel, so he'll spend quite a while in the pits. Definitely gonna probably swap off of those tires. Now, the only tire requirement that I am aware of is that you have to run both the medium and the soft compound at some point during the race, so some drivers probably just pitting in early to kind of satisfy that requirement. The short and sweet car is going to go ahead and hope that this pit stop is short and sweet. Probably won't be because of the amount of fuel that this driver has to get. Speaking of fuel and speaking of hydration, this is one of your hydration announcements coming from the commentator. These drivers would not be racing to their fullest potential if they weren't properly hydrated, and honestly the cars won't even compete if they're not properly hydrated, so get some water in your system. I know Monster tastes good, no Red Bull tastes good. I know if you drink Bang, I feel bad for your taste buds, but get hydrated, get some water in your system, your body will thank you. And that is your official hydration notification from the commentator here at Discord Racing Association. London is still flying on the circuit. The safety car would have definitely backed up this pack, but honestly, I think even without it, I think London probably would just launch it off into the distance again. The GT Finland Racers team is a very quick team of drivers, both in GT and LMP. I've actually seen them race in at least one other league I've seen these GT Finland Racers compete in, and they have been very strong there as well. So we know that these guys have been very strong and very potent as Garado makes his way into the pits again. 2 points of damage again, so the race director has not called a safety car, so this must have just been a self-accident here and actually he's just coming into the pits just to fix that damage, so I don't know when that happened, so I think it would have been a bit too far back for the replay to go ahead and check it out. So he's back out on track at the moment. Pretty much everybody's pretty far spread out at this point. If we do see a battle, we will go ahead and jump to it. The racer's in the pits, going to go ahead and make his pit stop here. He swapped to the soft tires, going to go ahead and get a good amount of fuel into that Mercedes. Man, those Mercedes must be thirsty cars. Hopefully they hydrate. I mean, especially on such a long race like this. Like, we're not even an hour into this race, and I'm sure these drivers have already started kind of feeling a little bit of the fatigue, a little bit of the wear and tear that a race like this can do to someone. But these drivers are professionals. These drivers are some of the best drivers you'll see in the GT3 cars, and also in LMP ones as well. So, and I am very confident in saying that this is definitely not their first rodeo. So they've definitely done this before. It's going to be a fun time here. I see, yeah. I mean, I get it. I understand completely. Sometimes the unfortunate times when you do have to work on a Saturday is a bit unfortunate sometimes. It's a necessary evil. I've done it a few times here recently. It is just it's a tough time at times, but I do wish you the best. But I do appreciate you jumping into the stream and at least hanging out with us for a bit. Hopefully we'll see you next time at the Nürburgring GP, because I'm sure that race is going to be pretty fun. Never actually seen an endurance race on the Nürburgring GP. I know the Nürburgring 24 hours exists, but that uses the actual Nordschleife. So seeing an endurance race on the GP layout should be pretty interesting, I would say. We have a lot of really good races throughout the calendar. Well, I have the Twitch chat here. Although unfortunately I don't have the permissions to make a poll or anything like that on this channel. But imagine if we had an endurance race, like say it's a 90-minute race, because that's the typical shortest race we do outside of the prologues. But imagine if we had like a 90-minute race around Jäger Nord 1. I think that would be just chaos. Just a 90-minute race around Jäger Nord 1. Multi-class. I see the notification that a comment has entered the chat, and I can already kind of guess what the general sentiment would be about a endurance race around Nord1. I can already guess it. And my assumption was correct. It honestly would not work. I think the only way you can probably get an endurance race out of that track is if you ran go-karts or maybe the Red Bull X 2014, but that's, well, the X 2014 Junior in particular. Or you can do a K-car race. I think that's really the only way you'd get any actual, like, racing out of that track. It is fun in Super Formula, though. It does kind of act like a Monaco. A little bit of a better Monaco when you do it in Super Formula, but that is a 100% joke request. There's definitely a lot better tracks for multi-class racing than Nord1. I mean, we got this track right here that's actually very good for it, as we see the two Audi teammates working together. But look at this. Look how little fuel Sparkane adds. Is he going to run out of fuel before he gets to the finish line, though? Is that the... I'm actually going to keep an eye on this because he's going to be at like 0. Oh, that's it. No. Well, he's got to really be on some fuel-saving tactics right now if he wants to get to the end of this with carrying no fuel. That car is probably paper light, but that car might be nothing more than a paperweight if he can't get to the line if he's out of fuel. I think he's close enough to where he can make it just based on gravity, but... Oh, there it is. Yep, the car's out of gas. Yep, that car is out of gas officially, and they're both going to come into the pits. He's just pushing his teammate into the pits. I feel like I've seen that recently, but I can't say when. The main reason they'll do it in real life because of safety. Well, yeah, Nord1 would not be a safe track in the real world. I don't think even for karts. I don't think even a karting place would actually try to utilize that track, but nevertheless. But that's crazy that we've seen this car come to like no fuel whatsoever, getting... It's like that scene from like the first Cars movie. Oops, that was a misclick on my end, so I apologize for the temporary blue screen. But that was a crazy... Next race will be always good to see. Oh, the Nordschleife. Yeah, that checks out. I mean, the Nordschleife is a very tough track. I mean, like 160 corners or something like that. I do have a funny story about sending somebody into the pit lane with carts. While these drivers are making their pit stops, I'll go ahead and tell that story. Look how many cars just ran to 0 fuel. That is crazy how many cars have pushed it that close to the end of their stint. But anyways, the story that I have about this is so on GT Sport, me and a few friends were doing karts around Northern Isle, the half a mile like NASCAR track essentially, and we were not racing clean in the slightest, but it was just a bunch of guys playing with the go-karts on Northern Isle, just goofing off. And then somebody gets hit so hard that they ricochet off a wall and fly straight on into the pits and still came out ahead of us, which was a testament to how much we were wrecking and spinning out for the funsies of it. So there's your little bit of story time with Rekkas. Now we're gonna head back to the story of the race. Bolden pitted in earlier, so him and Mirione are in the race lead for now. Mirione does have a 27-second gap, as a lot of their competitors are still in the pits trying to top off on fuel. So now I think, yeah, now everybody in the GT or LMP1 field has pitted in at some point. So karts on Nords is top tier, I see. I mean, I can believe it. It's... I'm trying to think, because I know there was one, if you guys did the weekly events from last week, I know there was that K-car race on the Nordschleife, which was, that was terrifying. Absolutely fear-inducing, especially because you're on comfort tires and then the floodgates open and it just hits you with torrential downpour, which is something I actually wish would happen in this race, just torrential downpour hitting the circuit. But unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, Daytona is just one of those tracks that just really just doesn't have rain, unfortunately, which considering Florida, you would think it would. Now we have Garado entering the pits again, going and making another stop. The lead GT3 car is still yet to pit. It is Method Jr. in the Ray Racing Lexus. We'll see if he makes a pit stop this time or if he's going to go around again. The 777 car. So it's good to see multiple different teams having support here. I need to ask them if this is the same Ray Racing that holds one of the drivers that I've commented for before. Actually, he's been here before. He was in the WGTC. Alex. I think Alex is a part of this team. The chaotic German driver. Not sure when he'll be racing again, but hopefully we'll see him again soon, just because he does add a little bit of flavor to this race, although he probably actually would have brought out a safety car, come to think of it, because I've known him for a while, and I know he is a bit of a reckless driver sometimes, but he is quick on his day, and when he's not dive bombing people to no end. But sometimes you need those dive bombs to make things exciting. I mean, look at the F1 movie. You got Plan C. Some drivers kind of live on that Plan C mentality. But what's interesting here is that, I mean, Rantanen's easily going to take this position away from Method, I think, just because Method is going to be on no fuel. And if he's not careful, I think he might even be on the... He might have his fuel map set to 6. Just because, I mean, that's probably the best thing you can do at this point. You're going to lose time, but you're also going to guarantee that you can make it to the pits. But Method, pretty much blocking Rantanen at any opportunity. The GT3 pole sitter stuck by this Lexus. And we'll see if the defense continues up. Rantanen's going to maybe try to send it up and around the outside. Oh, he had a little bit of a space, but just not enough to really make it stick. So, and I know Rantanen's more than good on fuel at this stage. Now he's going to go ahead and fire it on pass. No, he's still unable to get the pass done. Method actually might make it to the end here, but it's going to be a stretch, and he's definitely going to lose it out to Rantanen there on the end. I see. Ray is trying not to catch air because they've done it at Bathurst and Barcelona. I think I remember the incident at Barcelona when they caught air. I wasn't here for Bathurst, unfortunately, but yeah, now he's going to come into the pits. I don't think he quite ran out of fuel, though, like the French drivers did early on. But yeah, right now it just seems like the French drivers have pretty much at least the double podium locked out. Rantanen is still quite far ahead. Although he did pit in earlier, so he's on a different strategy compared to the other drivers. So he did pit in pretty early on, which allowed to Zozo and Sparkane to be a 1-2 pairing for a good portion of this race as we're winding down the final 8.5 minutes of the first hour. So there's still a lot of racing left to go. We are down a third of the race, and so far we'll just do a quick run down the grid. Mirione is in the lead with a 25-second gap, but once again, like Rantanen in the GT3 category, he is on an alternate strategy. Same with Bowden, as Bowden is going to go ahead and make his way through the GT3 traffic. Now there's only one GT3 car left ahead of him, and it will be the Finnish driver of Rantanen in the Mercedes. And then we have Lenninen, who recently just made his pit stop, CLR Ray Racer, and then Itkonen, and then Cameron Hill, and then Garado as the last driver in the LMP1 field. And then we go down to Rantanen, who is currently P1 in the LMGT3 field, followed by Zozo, Sparkane, DJ Games, the Racer, Method, and Astro rounding out our grid here in today's race. The sun has set here in Daytona, so it's lights out. The headlights are on. Actually, lights out was not the correct thing to say. While the natural light goes out, the artificial lights come on. The track is illuminated with the floodlights and with the headlights of all the machines on track here at the moment. So we'll see if we can find a really spicy battle here soon. The only cars that are really together in class, well, actually, Itkonen and Ray Racer might be a fun battle to watch here momentarily, as we ride on board with the number 23 Audi of Itkonen, who He's got a good amount of fuel to play with despite what the on-screen display says, but he's going to go ahead and try to push it around town, try to go ahead and try to get past this GT car of DJ, the white Ferrari, now having to get out of the way of Ray Racer and Ikonen here. So he's going to try to send, no send this time, but he's going to, a little bit of a light tap, maybe trying to get around this Ferrari. He's losing time to the Audi just up ahead. And Ray Racer got that timing correct. CLR did a fantastic job trying to get around that, but it left Ikonen in a really rough spot to try to make a pass. So losing a bit of time, but now he's gaining time back. I guess now it's really in a state of just ebb and flow. I think Ikonen's a bit too far away to really pick up off of that slipstream from the Audi up ahead, but maybe. We'll see how this works out. Check the battery life. They're about equal on battery life, but Ikonen's going to have a corner advantage because he is running that soft tire compound compared to CLR, who is on the mediums. So CLR is, I mean, the gap is actually closed up quite considerably. So now it's under a second. So maybe Ikonen's got a shot here of trying to get this pass done, dusted, and delivered. See if he can put himself into P4. Corrado is out, so we have our first retirement of the race. Corrado is out. So we are down to 13 drivers left on the grid here around Daytona. And don't know if anything particularly happened, but I think this was just not his race, unfortunately. He was in the pit several times, and that's a bit dicey for Ikonen, trying to weave and carve his way through the Audis as he's trying to catch an Audi of his own. I think Ray Racer maybe had a bit of a slide there, but I mean, once again, traffic is just benefiting CLR at the moment, because at the time when Ikonen does catch up to the traffic, he's just kind of stuck behind. So a really unfortunate position for him to really be in, because he's got the pace, he's on the quicker tire, so he's got the ability to catch up to the back of CLR, but the Ray Racer is just doing a better job of just getting through that traffic at more opportune positions. So we are currently about 3 minutes away from the first hour being officially wrapped up, as the nighttime sky has fallen here. According to the radar, once the sun comes back up, we won't see a whole lot of sunshine. We'll see a little bit of it if we do see it, but it is expected to be cloudy once the sun comes back up. So I mean, that's going to be good for the drivers and their tire life, so their tire life can survive a little bit easier compared to if it was like blazing hot, as the typical Florida sun does. I mean, granted, it is cloudy here in IRL Florida at the moment, so let's actually go ahead and check the actual IRL weather for Daytona. Let's go and check that out actually while this battle is still kind of ebbing and flowing here. So let's go ahead and check. So right now the IRL forecast for Daytona is as follows. It is actually IRL, it's very cloudy too. Very cloudy with a chance of rain at 5 p.m. But I mean, that's gonna be A, that's not in the real world, and B, that's pretty much well after this race already ended. So still 86 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really funny considering that it is Florida. And if you've ever lived in Florida or been in Florida, you know that Florida has some of the most bipolar weather known to man. As Ikonen is going to go ahead and try to pass CLR here. They're going to get past, he's going to get past this countryman who is still leading this GT3 field in P7 overall. And now he's got the slipstream. Does he got the move? Does he have anything in the tank? Well, look at the telemetry, yes. But does he got the move? Does he got the speed? He's got the outside line. He's got the gap. But can he cut across? No, he cannot cut across. CLR is putting up a heck of a fight against Ikonen. and the two drivers are bumping each other. The paint being traded is real right now as it kind of forces its way up the inside, getting very close there, but now the inside becomes the outside, and CLR is going to go to try to burn everything he can to try to go ahead and get this position. Ikonen is going to have the inside line, so Ray Racer is going to have to probably forfeit this position for now, as the American driver did lose that position out. But it is worth noting that Ikonen's tires are likely to fall off a bit quicker though, but also CLR is within the draft. Oh, a bit of a snap might have hurt him a little bit there in his attempts. So we're going to go ahead and put the foot to the floor, pedal to the metal, and we'll see if CLR from Ray Racing is going to go ahead and try to get past here. Going to go ahead and try, get the slipstream going into the chicane. And I think Ikonen might just have this on principle, being on quicker tires at the moment. There are 11 people watching the stream at the moment, so thank you guys so much for tuning on in. And be sure to drop a follow if you are new here. And then also go ahead and check out our YouTube channel where the race replay will be uploaded shortly after. So be sure to go ahead and tune on in, and you can also catch up on some of the other races that you missed. As long as they had a live stream, there will be a race replay up on YouTube. Even then, I think there may be a commentary-less race replay uploaded, potentially. I'm not too sure about that one, but I know that all the streams will be re-uploaded to our YouTube at the Discord Racing Association. And hopefully you guys stick around and enjoy, because we enjoy racing and we enjoy you guys being here. So now is when we're going to see the GT3 drivers who have opted for the alternate strategy as we eclipse the 1 hour mark of this race coming on into the pits. So Rantanen's probably going to get the full service. Going to go ahead and swap the tires, get some fuel, because I mean honestly you're making like one more lap probably with that fuel load, and then you're probably going to be beached. Actually, you probably wouldn't even make it half a lap without being beached. And interesting stuff here. Interesting stuff indeed. I mean, coming back to the other topic of the lack of rain. Actually, now this is one I would have to be corrected upon probably, but I don't think any of the American tracks in this game actually have rain on them. I don't think so. I feel like there should be at least one. I'm trying to remember what it is, because in my mind, when you think about American races that consistently have rain, it's Daytona for the Rolex 24. I'm trying to remember. I feel like there's like one track that is in the North America or the Americas region in GT7 that does not rain. I don't think there. My mind's drawing a blank on what it is. I feel like there is on one of the tracks. It's gonna bug me probably until the end of time. But yeah, it's interesting. It's weird that Florida in particular is the one that just doesn't get any rain. Like if you only gave rain to one of the American tracks, you had to give it for Daytona. And considering how much it actually rains at the 24 hours of Daytona. Now we're gonna see Now we're seeing the alternate drivers go ahead and make their pit stops. So the drivers who did pit a bit earlier are going to try to go on a bit on the alternate strategy. So those soft tires are cooked. The fuel load is practically non-existent. But now we're going to see how much he fuels up. I'm probably going to make a safe bet that's going to be around the probably going to say 85% mark. Because you can probably get a solid 10 laps or so, maybe, on about 85% fuel, so we'll see. It's probably going to be around 85. I don't see him staying in the pits for super long, all that considered, so we'll see if it is 85. Actually, it is. No, he's going for the full tank. Oh, not quite. Almost. 97. So he got about 97% fuel. Bolden will be the next one who needs to pit. But he does have purple sector, so he is setting the fastest lap so far in that golden Audi. The Bolden golden Audi from Nexus Racing here. Going to go to get past Sparkane. and we'll see if he can go ahead and keep this purple lap going. And hello, Chill Guerrero. Unfortunate if you are the Italian driver who retired early on in this race. Unfortunate for you to see you retire, but glad to see you're here in the chat. I mean, even if you're not the Italian driver whose name I struggle to pronounce, we're still happy to have you in the Twitch chat, chatting along. And okay, I was correct. That's good. Either way, we're glad to have you here in this race, or in the chat, I should say. Unfortunately, you retired from the race, though, but I could tell that was kind of a tricky start to your race. And ooh, hey, this is a very dicey situation to be in. Ray Racer trying to get through while Rantanen and the racer were battling it out for position. This would have been for P3? Yeah, P3 in the GT3. So, although granted, Zozo and Sparkane might need a pit. Although I feel like the Audis are kind of winning on strategy, though. I feel like the Audis might be winning this one out on strategy when it comes to this. So I feel like their strategy has just been a bit more consistent and a bit stronger, in my opinion. And they've also always been pretty much stuck together like peanut butter and jelly, just drafting off of each other, increasing the gap. I mean, Sparkane actually has probably a good chance to pit now and still be ahead of Rantanen. But we will see if that pace continues. Rantanen is on fresh mediums, and he's got a lot of fuel to spare. So we'll see how this one does tend to play out. We're about an hour into the race. Just don't like Daytona. Daytona's a tricky track. I mean, I like Daytona because it's essentially my home track, and I've had a lot of fun with it in a lot of different car types. I like driving on it with LMPs, GT3s, Super Formula, but I will say that it is not an easy track by any stretch. It may look simple, but it's, I mean, as you were just driving on the track, you can tell that it is anything but simple here when you're in the Sunshine State. But we're going to stay on board with this battle for a little bit. Rantanen does have the racer for company about a second behind, but the slipstream here is very strong, and the Mercedes top end is very strong as well. So hopping onto the rooftop of the Mercedes, chasing the podium spot here in LMGT. We'll see if he can go ahead and get it done. The short and sweet is trying to make sure that Rantanen's lead is shorter, and it'll be a sweeter overtake for the Dutchman. We'll see. He's got a good amount of fuel despite what the UI or the overlay says, but he is still doing very good. The gap is under a second now, so that's good in the favor of the racer. And he did set a new personal best by 0.13 of a second. So very good stuff there from him. We're going to go ahead and we'll stay up over this battle for a bit, because this looks like this could be a really spicy battle. And I feel like the instant I look away from this battle, it's going to be a spicy moment that we just missed. So we're going to try to avoid that. We're going to stay on board with this battle as long as we can. Because, I mean, the racer's also setting faster. Like, he's setting blues. Which, if you are more familiar with, say, like, Le Mans or Formula 1, and you're unsure what blue means, blue is essentially like the green when it comes to lap time. So blue is like an improvement, like it's a personal best improvement, but not the fastest overall. But it is still, it's still good. Now he's in the red, so now he's not improving. He lost about a 1/10.5 there at some point. Car's 10 kilometer, I'm assuming it's 10 kilometers an hour slower than everyone else's. Ooh. Yeah, it's a bit of a rough pace differential. But there are some tracks that you just tend to struggle on sometimes, and that's just the nature of racing. I mean, honestly, I suck at Suzuka. And an Evergreen GP, so the next track we're heading to is just not a track I'm good at. Luckily, if I am present, I'll be here in the commentary box, and not on the circuit, but still, it's just not a track that I've been ever good at. Suzuka, well, actually, to be fair, I struggle a good chunk of the Japanese tracks in this game. The only tracks I would say I'm, quote, good at are Fuji and Kyoto. You loaded it too much. Yeah, I mean, sometimes Now, BOP is a thing in the series, but there's still some adjustments you can make. You can adjust the ride height, the brake balance, and the aero. And Daytona it's an interesting case of a track, because when you're racing here, I mean, you have a little bit of the road course section through the horseshoes, but then the rest of that, it mostly just feels like it's NASCAR. So you need enough downforce to not lose speed in these slower speed sections of the International Horseshoes. But then you need high speed for the oval, so I mean, it's really hard to find that balance. So what you might see sometimes is where some drivers just tend to just pick one or the other. They'll pick whether they're good in the corners, but lose time on the straights, or vice versa. So getting a setup on this track is just really difficult and really, really tough. So, I mean, it takes a lot of time in the lab to go ahead and figure out what's your ideal strategy and what's your ideal setup. I feel like Lennon up here in the front has done pretty much just about that, but granted, there's still quite a few different strategies on the board here, so quite a few different strategies. What I'm going to go ahead and say real quick, as we're about an hour 10 into this race just about, is if you guys want me to do an onboard lap with any driver, just go ahead and drop it in the Twitch chat, and if the situation is appropriate, the request shall be granted. So we're going to go ahead and just do our best to adhere by that. Gives you a good chance to hear the sights and sounds from a lot of these different machines. And we're going to actually go ahead and take a step back, and we're going to go ahead and just enjoy some onboard audio with the Audi R8, and we'll be right back. We are back here, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the sounds, the sights, and just the raw power of these Audis and how close these two teammates are really getting to each other. Definitely some team bonding going on here. with these Audis. So it is the two French drivers having a lot of team bonding here. I mean, they just get so close, and I'm just curious to know if this is really hurting or helping their pace. I feel like it'd be the latter, honestly, just because normally when you have a lot of these like draft trains, essentially, they swap positions pretty much on every straight, but they haven't really been doing that. They've pretty much just been tucking right in behind each other. So CLR is going to go ahead and get through the aforementioned Audis. So once again, that's clear traffic. Oh, here we go. Here's a battle we're wanting to see. It is Mercedes v Mercedes, short and sweet, versus Zenith Racing. We'll see which of these cars can go ahead and make it out on top. Check about the fuel load too. Well, I mean, Rantanet's going to get this position eventually just due to the fuel load that the racer has. So the racer doesn't really have a lot of fuel left. He can maybe get one more lap after this one on this fuel, but he's definitely going to come in sooner rather than later. He's also on pretty burned up soft tires here. And Rantanen is going to start closing that gap a little bit. Not by a whole lot. I mean, this is really a good spot to try to close that gap, but they're going to go ahead and get through the bus stop chicane and then make their way through. Going onto the backstretch, Mariona is directly behind, so these drivers will have to go ahead and get out of the way so the LMP cars can pass. I wonder if that's going to interrupt this battle here, though. That is the question at hand. Mariona is going to go ahead and try to send it on through. And he does with no issue. Ikonen not too far behind. So we're potentially seeing two battles from two different classes kind of mixed together here, potentially, because right now it is an LMP sandwich here for... Oh, but Rantanen goes very wide on the corner exit there, coming onto the horseshoes, and he just... I mean, that's going to make things a bit easier for Ikonen there, as Ikonen's passed them both now. So it's going to make things a bit easier for him, but he's still got a little bit of a mountain to climb when he's trying to catch Marione. Let's see, Marione's on fresher tires and with more fuel, so I don't think Ikonen really has too much really going in his direction for this battle to really start swaying in his favor, but we've seen crazy things happen here at racing, so we have seen some very interesting things happen. I mean, we've seen the Ray Racing team go airborne twice, just between the WGTC and IEC, or the World GT Champion or World GT Challenge and the International Endurance Championship, respectively. But yeah, Marione's definitely got some more pace, quicker tires, more fuel, and overall, I think the Phoenix competition car is going to go ahead and just burn out into the distance and get away from Ikonen as best as possible. See if we got any more spicy battles happening on track. Doesn't appear to be. Oh, maybe never mind. I was gonna say, here we go. We got a battle, but once again, it's the two Audi R8 teammates. Once again, working together very nicely to try to go ahead and try to extend that gap to the racer. The racer's actually into the pit, so now the gap is 33 seconds to Rantanen, who's on fresh medium tires and about 55% fuel, I would say, roughly. A little over half, maybe 55, maybe 60 at most, but still in a pretty good spot though. So I mean, Zozo could pit, and Zozo could pit in and still maybe come out of Rantanen, maybe, but I think with fuel probably not though. But it won't be too big of a gap, I would say, all things considered. But I will say that this has the makings to be a really spicy race at some points. So once again, the Audis are pretty much battling it out. Or, well, I say battling it out, but they're really just working together to try to go and create a big gap to the car behind. Sparkane and Zozo, it's a 1-2 for the team at the moment, as we race under the lights here at Daytona International Speedway. We'll see if these Audis can continue to build that gap. It looks like they are building that gap, so that slipstream is definitely helping the Audi R8s here. So very good stuff. Very good teamwork, I will say. I don't think I've seen this level of teamwork in a GT race in quite some time. So it's very impressive to see that coordination. And I am looking at the request in chat. And that is a request I will attempt to fulfill. So I will do my best to adhere to that request there for the race results, just to kind of any percent speed run through the results. We'll give it a go. I'll do what I can, but no promises it's going to be perfect. But anyways, I can promise you that we're going to see some very fantastic racing still to come in this race here at Daytona. Pretty much now just a race of attrition. Who can go ahead and, well, for some of these drivers, because I know some of these drivers are probably racing in some not so European friendly time zones. I'm sure it's super late for some of these drivers. I mean, we don't have any like Asian Pacific drivers in this lobby, but I know for them it'd be like 2 or 3 in the morning right about now, so I know it'd be a super late race for them. I think in the UK it's actually pretty late as well, so the European drivers are the ones I kind of really feel bad about when it comes to like just the time zone stuff, because in the US it's right at noon just about, so it's not really a bad time zone for us. This is about the time when we'd get lunch, which hopefully these drivers had lunch a little bit beforehand. I know actually during the last intermission that I took, I actually went down to grab lunch, because it is about lunchtime here in the USA. Alright, so here's the next question I'm going to go ahead and ask the chat. When you are practicing for a league race, an endurance race, or overall just having a fun racing session or fun gaming session overall, what is your go-to snack when it comes to just having a good night gaming with your friends? That is the question I'm going to go ahead and direct at chat. For me, it's got to be like just about any kind of chip, honestly. Like, and I mean like potato chips, as in the American, not what Americans call French fries over here. Cheez-Its? Man, I haven't had Cheez-Its in so long. It's been a long time since I had Cheez-Its. Actually, the snack I have with me, or the snack I was eating last night is, it's an interesting one. Found it on sale at our local grocery store. It is, I'll get to that in a moment, but right now we do have Bolden just trying to make his way through the Audis. No consequence there. I thought it could have been a bit worse. Anyways, they are Old Bay flavored goldfish. So if you're from, I believe it's the Northeast, like Maine, Maryland, New York, around that like New England area essentially, crabs are a big thing there, and crab seasoning, like one of the premier crab seasonings, is Old Bay, or yeah, it's Old Bay. So I found some Old Bay flavored goldfish that I tried, and they're honestly pretty good. Can't really complain about them. They're pretty solid. It pretty much just says like you took goldfish and put Old Bay over them. Pretty much how it tends to go. But yeah, curious to see what you guys what the rest of chat's snacks or snack choices are. I'll ask about drinks as well, because I mean, you can't have a good snack without a good drink. Just like you can't have racing on a good track without battles, which we don't have any at the moment, but there were some really spicy battles very earlier on in this race, so it's pretty much at this near halfway stage of the race where everything just kind of settles down a bit. Drivers just really found their footing, and now they're really just trying to go ahead and manage. So we're in that management stage of the race. We'll ride around with the Lexus here for a moment, but for me, it really depends on what I have available. Water is always a good choice. If typically, oh, here we go. Method's actually coming into the pit, so that's not gonna really. Well, we'll stick on board for a pit stop. Why not? Energy drinks are good, but I I do like energy drinks, I will say that. Don't really have a preference for the most part. Aside, there's a few drinks I don't like, but I mean, if it's like early in the morning, or like morning to like afternoonish, then it'll be an energy drink. Otherwise, it'll probably be some kind of soda or water. Just depends on how I'm feeling at the time period. I do try to drink water. Actually, here's a commentator tip for anybody looking to get into the realm of commentary. Lemon juice and water is actually really good for your throat. So I drink it pretty much after every time I commentate. So if you're looking to become a commentator, well, first of all, join the Discord. We'd love to have you. And then you can jump in on fantastic races like this. But yeah, lemon water is really good for your throat. It's I don't know exactly how it helps, but it just tends to help. Cough drops are also another thing, but if you don't feel like putting like medicine into your throat, then lemon water is a pretty good substitute. Save the replay. That is something I know I can do without a fact. I can definitely save the replay. That's not an issue at all. Actually, it'll be probably pretty good to get a thumbnail for it too. So I will go ahead and save the replay before we close up shop here. But we still have quite a while before that. We are almost halfway into this race. So yeah, we're about halfway through this race, and actually Morone is setting purple sector. So we'll stay on board with Morone here, the Phoenix competition driver, because the Phoenix always rises from the ashes according to mythology. But right now, the Phoenix is about to rise to the top of the fastest lap timetable here, if this lap can continue to go on. We'll see. Just losing a bit of time there, 36 hundredths of a second off there, so very unfortunate. Thumbnail race winner photos. I'll do what I can on that front, but I think you could probably just grab this from the race replay, I'd imagine. That's back in my day, which was like about not even a year ago. I used to do that kind of thing. I used to upload the race replay and then grab a thumbnail for it. But yeah, I know it's and for those of you who may be unfamiliar, the reason why that we're being asked to go ahead and provide like the race replay. Well, the race replay helps with stewarding in case there's any like penalties or any of that needs to be applied to anything, but it also helps with getting a good thumbnail for when this race is re-uploaded to YouTube. And then also, it's good for getting the posts for social media to post the winners, which go ahead and follow us on Instagram. It is at Discord Racing Association. So it is, you can see all the race winners, and you can pretty much stay up to date with what's going on here. If there's a new series planned, if the DRA decides to jump into a different category, like maybe GR4s or GR2s, maybe a full LMP specific series, Super Formula, karting, whatever. And if you're waiting for just that one particular series that you really want, and you're really hoping somebody does, well, follow DRA on Instagram, and you might actually see that series you're looking for, and then we'd love to have you. I believe the link to the Discord is in the bio of the Instagram page, so it's pretty much a win-win for everybody. We get your amazing support, and also you get a first glimpse at every new thing that comes through with DRA, so be sure to go ahead and check us out. So Sparkane is coming into the pits. This Audi team loves to push their field to the absolute brink of collapse. Oh, I feel bad I'd feel bad about their engine. Their car's getting pushed to its limits, I can see. But yeah, we'll see what this. Oh, actually, Rantanen's into the pits too. So this really is kind of solidifying the 1-2 here for this team. Really solidifying that 1-2 position. So that is very interesting, to say the least, for Sparkline. I believe it is actually called the Sparkline Racing Team, which is pretty funny considering Sparkane is one of their drivers. He's probably the founder too, now that I kind of put 2 and 2 together, but the the Sparkline cars, P1 and P2 at the moment, or provisionally P1 and P2. Zozo still needs to pit in. That's actually not where I meant to jump, but it's good to check in on our overall race leader of Lennon. Currently P1, about 20 seconds of a gap to Morone behind. So if he does make the pit stop, he would fall behind, but he is basically right out of fuel, so the Audi is going to have to try to make it to the end, but right there at the end on 1% of fuel. So good as time as any for the race leader to go ahead and make his pit stop. Gonna actually jump down to the current GT3 leader, who I believe is also, yep, Zozo's into the pits. So Sparkane is gonna inherit that race lead. We'll see where Zozo comes out. He's gonna definitely come out behind. I'd probably even say as far back as DJ is probably roughly where he's gonna come out, so. It is Sparkline Racing. Alright, well, a lot of support for you guys, and honestly, seeing the drivers and teams here get support is like one of my favorite things about commentating. I love seeing the absolute outpouring of support for your friend, your family, your favorite teams. It's very heartwarming, and I know the drivers really, really do appreciate it from the bottom of their heart. I know I haven't talked to any of these drivers, but I can say with 100% certainty that they really do love and appreciate this support from all their amazing fans. So it's really awesome to go ahead and see just how many fans that these teams tend to bring in. It's very awesome, and I really, even though it's directed at the teams and drivers, I mean, I really appreciate it, honestly. It's really fun to see, because I mean, these drivers, this is what they love to do. They put their heart and soul into pretty much every single lap that they turn around these circuits, and it's always just really awesome. While we're on the appreciation train, I do want to go ahead and appreciate all the admin staff and everybody that makes everything here at the DRA run as smoothly as it does. Shout out to the race directors for actually making my job a bit easier by handling the penalties and the safety cars. So shout out Sonic. And then obviously shout out to the amazing admin team that gets things organized and ready to go. I also do want to particularly shout out the GT3 drivers for their patience, considering we had a qualifying lobby crash, and they pretty much were good sports about it. They jumped right back in. Unfortunately, that did mean we did lose somebody. We did lose one driver, unfortunately, due to that, so I do apologize to that particular driver. But I do appreciate everybody who is in the chat, who is on the track at the moment and behind the scenes, and obviously just overall, I just appreciate that this kind of thing exists in the first place. So thank you guys so much. Also want a big thank you and a big shout out to FUELCAN.SHOP for partnering with the league. And once again, just thanks to everybody here. And now, back to the racing. So the guys are pretty much, once again, spread out pretty far, pretty wide for the most part. I'll flip through, try to find any battles. The closest battle we have here is Conan and CLR, but that's still a pretty big gap, I would say. About 2 seconds though, so actually not super big, but we'll see if Conan can really try to catch up and try to pass the driver. We'll see if the Finnish driver can go in and make his way past the American. Now, the really interesting thing is that this is the longest race that we're going to have of the season, tied with the other 3-hour-long races, but it's interesting just to kind of know how the strategy just tends to play out. And I mean, like, strategy is one of my favorite things when it comes to racing. When it comes to multi-class racing in particular, you really have about 4 different things you really got to think about, 4 pieces to the puzzle. So I mean, obviously you have the pace, you have race pace, that's obviously always going to be a big one. And then you're going to have your management. Your management's always going to be a strong one when it comes to fuel and tire management, which pretty much plays right into your strategy, which I think is honestly about half the battle. And then typically I would just leave it up there, but when you have multi-class racing, you also really got to think about the traffic management, because traffic management is such a big part of multi-class racing on both sides. Whether you're a GT3 like the Sparkline team that's getting passed here by the LMP of Cameron Hill, Traffic management is actually very important. Traffic could honestly make or break your race, 100%. So that's pretty much it. If you ever want a simplified version of like all the things it takes or all the skills you need to master to be good in multi-class racing, it's pretty simple. Pace, resource management, strategy, and traffic. Pretty much the big four that you need to really think about when it comes to multi-class endurance racing. So Sparkline, once again, I think, honestly, the more and more I see this Sparkline team, the more and more confident I feel that they actually have a really good shot of winning this thing. Because, I mean, pretty much with just how their strategies play out, they always end up in a draft with each other. So the French team is putting on a fantastic display here of just how teamwork makes the dream work here. I mean, they've pretty much just been drafting each other consistently and not really being a headache for each other. I've seen teammates where they've just been super competitive, which is fair because you're racing and ideally, you know, trying to get a championship. While there's a team's championship, a lot of glory does go to the driver's champion. You see that in pretty much any motorsport you see that in, but when it comes to teams, you often kind of see them fight and even ultimately ruin each other's race. I have not been seeing that with the Sparkline racing team. I've seen them really just kind of stick together and just work together. They work together to pretty much build up as big of a gap as they humanly can. So, kudos to them. Up, we have an incident. We have an incident with damage. We'll get a replay of that. Race director will call if it's a safety car or not. That's kind of a self-incident. Self-incident, so no safety car has been called yet, and I quite honestly don't think one will be. So we're still racing, still green flag conditions here, but a fair chunk of time has been lost. So that is pretty rough. Bit of a moment actually happening earlier too with Bolden and I didn't quite see who that was. I think it was TJ. So we'll see if we can get that on the replay too, maybe? I'm trying to see here. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay, so yeah, I don't really see anything. The damage is going to get repaired on the racer's car. So, I mean, it's fortunate that the only safety car we had was a very, very brief one that eventually got overridden anyway. So we've pretty much been full green flag racing for the entire hour and 36 minutes that we've been doing this race so far. We're over halfway there. So we got about another hour and 20 minutes left to go on the clock. And right now we'll just do another quick rundown through the field. It is Mirone, Bolden, Lennon, our top three overall and in the LMP1 class. CLR, Idkonen, and Cameron Hill rounding out our field here in the LMP1s. And then we go down to the rest of the field. We have Zozo and Sparkane, P1 and P2 at the moment. And then Rantanen rounding out our GT3 podium. And there's DJ, Astro, Method, and then the Racer rounding out our overall grid here. Starting with 14, down to 13, with Guerrero being the only, or Guerrero actually being the only replacement or retiree of the track. But making 5 championships together, whew, that is that's a lot, I will say that. So as much as we love seeing you here, I mean, I understand, man, it's tough going through 5 different championships at once. I mean, whether you're a competitor or a racer, that is a tricky one. But here we go, here's another battle of the century. Ray Racer and Idkonen are gonna fight it out here in LMP1 for the final 2 spots in the top 5. Ray Racer's trying to go ahead and pull away there from Idkonen. We'll see if he can manage to do that. We're riding on essentially the diffuser of the Audi of CLR. He wants to eventually turn that CLR to a see you later to Ikonen, as he's going to go ahead and try, but Ikonen I think is on the fresher tires, so I think Ikonen's got a bit of a better shot. They get through the GT3 car of Astro. And as we look at the rear wing, I think there's a bit of a snap there too from CLR. The driver from Ray Racing is going to be under a lot of pressure now from Ikonen. He's going to go ahead and try. He's got the slipstream, but does he have the speed is the question at hand. Getting very close to the wall there. Very, very close to the wall. Going to go ahead and cut through. Cut through. I think he got a little bit of a breather on that chicane, so I think that really did help out Ray Racer a little bit, but Ikonen is going to be in a, I mean, in terms of resources, Ikonen's in a much better spot, because Ikonen does have, I mean, he's got just about fresh tires and about 75% fuel in his car, compared to Ray Racer that is in a much worse situation on that front. So I think it's going to be really strong, a really strong chance that Ikonen is going to get that position even before the pit stop cycle. I mean, this is a very strong battle. Even then, as we're down to about 1:20 left to go, there's still a lot of action happening here. Still a lot of just speed, pace, consistency. We're 62 laps into this race. I mean, there's a good chance we might even break into the triple digits of races. Oh, they come together! They come together ever so slightly, but it's no major consequence. Ikonen does get the position. So that is Ikonen up in the fourth, but it looks like Ray Racer might be trying to go ahead and send it back. He's later on the brakes through the chicane, and what a pass that was from Ray Racer. That is insanity for him to go for that move. It may not pay off in the end, but man, that was very pleasing to watch. What a dive from the driver from Ray Racing. But these two cars are bumping, they're barging, they're boxing it out here, as they now are fighting for a podium spot as Bolden is into the pits. Oh, this is going to be tight. Ray Racer's got the inside line. Ikonen's going to be late on the brakes, but the inside line does favor Ray Racer quite a bit here, as CLR is going to go and try to make this stick, trying to tell Ikonen to see you later, but not quite. Ooh, this could be tricky. This is dicey. This is beautiful racing here. Just beautiful, beautiful racing here. Are we going to see a dive of the inside from the American driver? We are going to push him a bit wide, but they both stay on the track. CLR gives him back the room. And then Ikonen is still going to hold on after all of that. That is crazy stuff. Insane. Just overall a very insane moment there to happen between Ikonen and Ray Racer. I mean, beautiful racing. I told you guys that we'd have some beautiful racing here in a bit, and we certainly did. Let's go and watch that replay again of just the dive that CLR took. So Ikonen gets the pass done here, right? And then now they're making their way through the oval, just pretty much right up on the back of Ikonen now, and he just lines it up, and then watch this from the helicopter cam. Just laid on the brakes, and he sends it on through. What a beautiful, beautiful setup. I mean, that is everything we want to see in Daytona. You want to see high speed, high intensity action, and boy, did that give it to us. Unfortunately, it didn't really pay off for Ray Racer that much in the end, considering that they're still fighting tooth and nail here for these positions, as Moroni does make his way into the pits. But now you have the French duo leading this GT3 field pretty much right in their way. Ooh, this is really sketchy stuff here, but they make it through. I was honestly expecting that to be a bit worse than it was, because I mean, going essentially like two stacks of 2 wide into a corner that you're really not supposed to do that with. Whew. The overall lap record is a 96, so we can maybe beat that here today. I mean, considering how fast these drivers are, I'd believe it. See about ranting in here. Let's take a look through our GT3 field just to kind of catch a bit of a breather from these drivers. So here we go. DJ's catching though. DJ is catching up to a Method here, so this could be a fun battle in GT3. We haven't seen a lot of this Ferrari today, so it'll be good to see that this Ferrari can go ahead and catch up quite a bit. So this actually might be this could be a fun battle to see here very, very soon. And as I'm learning now in chat that Rantanit's first name is Jalk, I believe, if I'm reading chat right. So the pole sitter from GT3 is catching up to this Mercedes or this Audi crew. About the same pit stop window. I know definitely him and Sparkane are definitely they're definitely in the same like pit stop window. I think Zoro might be a lap later, but we'll see if he can catch up to these Audis, because this could be a really, really fun battle to watch here in GT3. So that is going to be, this has the potential to be a really tight end to the race, all things considered. We'll jump back to this momentarily, but we're going to jump real quick to the LMPs. Okay, yeah, the LMP field is got a pretty solid gap now because Ray Racer did make a pit stop. So back down here to the GT3s, watching these guys battle it out for a bit. I mean, this is just intense racing. I mean, it's a personal best though, so it's a blue sector for the Mercedes. So we'll see if he can catch the Audis. He is catching bit by bit by bit. About 13 minutes behind the race leader, which I mean is to be expected. So I mean, is the LMP1, so I mean they're obviously going to be several laps ahead as they go through the chicane. I mean, I think Sparkline still has a really good chance to win this, but it's not going to be a dominant win if they do win, I will say that much. It's really going to, because Rantanen's he's catching up to this pack quite considerably, so I wonder if their like slipstreaming strategy that I was praising earlier might actually come back to haunt them a bit. Because, I mean, typically, like, when you think of these kind of strategies, you typically just try to rotate the positions. So you'd have to say, in this example, on this lap, on the straight, if Sparkane's close enough, you'd have him pass for a bit just to kind of keep that speed up. And then next time around, you'd have Zozo pass and so on and so forth. That's typically how that train works. But I think Sparkane actually slows down, acting more like a wingman than actually benefiting from the slipstream. So it's actually Genry, but we know it as Chalk. Okay, that makes sense. So interesting stuff going on here. Also, we do know that, I mean, Resident, he's got some solid pace. It is also worth noting he gets on softs compared to the mediums of the two cars just up ahead. But I mean, he's got pace. He's definitely got the quickness. He's got the speed. Actually, you know what? We're gonna actually hop on board and we'll do about a lap and a half or so, I would say, with this Mercedes, man. We'll let you get a good listen to this mighty V8 roaring through Daytona, and we'll be right back. no, disaster for the Mercedes. He was catching so nicely too. That gap was at about a second, and then unfortunately just kind of lost it there. So let's go ahead and get a better look at what happened here to the Finnish driver. So falling through, maybe a little bit of the dirty air caught him. We'll see as he's going to go make his way through the International Horseshoe. Yep, he took that corner a bit too wide and then just kind of ended up on the grass a bit. So yeah, turning that Mercedes into a very expensive lawnmower and maybe clipping away his chances of a race win here. It's unfortunate. You can have the pace, but you got to have that consistency as his countryman of London just slides on through. So that's really unfortunate though, because I mean he had the pace clearly. He was catching, he was on faster tires, similar pit strategy to the cars up ahead. So I mean there was a real possibility for him to really take this one home, and there still is about an hour and 10 minutes left of racing here in Daytona. But I mean that task is going to be just that much harder now than it was just a few moments ago. Looking for battles in LMP, nothing at the moment, so we'll see if Ranton can actually catch back up, because that's a possibility. Ray Racing, the Ray Racing driver of CLR is directly behind though, so CLR is gonna have to go ahead and get through, and Ranton, it's gonna have to let him. So I mean it's possible, but yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, he's already kind of catching back up. It's about a second and a half of a gap, but we'll see. Oh, here we go. This actually might be a battle here soon. Renton trying to chase down Sparkane here from the Sparkline Racing team, but I mean, you really got to feel for him. But, I mean, it seemed like it didn't shake him too much because he's already pretty much right back into the fray here. So, I mean, he's already pretty much back in the action and ready to try to challenge for this position. Just hearing the mighty roar of that Mercedes V8. He's going to go ahead and give it his all. To go ahead and give a very quick recap of the race, the field is pretty far spread out at the moment. But the big story as of recently is Rantanen's return to pace. He's been having some really strong pace, catching up to the back of these two, so far, pretty dominant Audis. But now he's finished right up at the gearbox of the Audi R8 of the Sparkline Racing driver of Sparkane. Can he go ahead and get the move done? He's up the inside. Rantanen makes the move. Had a bit of a spin earlier, but he recovered and ends up into P. Oh, but he goes deep. He is very deep. Oh, I think he might have even touched the wall a bit there. If not, he was very close. But Rantanen giving him the lights. You're clearly not too happy about that one. The Zenith Racing driver just having an unfortunate moment there. Really rough to see. Continuing on the recap, let's actually just run through our driver positions, shall we? So London right now is in P1 at the moment in the GT Finland Racers Audi R18. And then we have the Phoenix competition car of Marion. Itkonen in P3, so it is two Finnish drivers on the podium. And then we have Bolden and Cameron Hill as our last LMP driver. And then, oh sorry, there's CLR as well. I don't know how I missed that one entirely. CLR did recently pit, so I think CLR might jump up this order a bit once the pit stop starts cycling through. As here we go, let's actually jump on board with this battle here, because just directly behind, DJ is fighting it out with Method as Astro's into the pits, and the racer is still about a lap down due to some damage he sustained earlier on in the race. There's been a micro safety car that happened at the very beginning of the race, but since then, race control has not called in another safety car, which is good. There hasn't really been anything that really warranted it, aside from, I mean, there's been a few crashes, but it didn't really affect anybody. It was just a one car done and dusted. One car kind of made their own mistake, but no real damage as of yet. But we are seeing a really dang good battle here between DJ Games and Method. This would be for a P4 in class. But here we go. Here's the battle we want to see right now. It is a battle for the lead in GT3. It is Rantanen, who is on the soft tire, trying to go ahead and get past the Audi. The Audi is making it as difficult as possible. Zozo playing very defensively, closing that door. He doesn't want any Girl Scout cookies. He just wants to continue racing and, oh, ran right into the back of Zozo. I wonder if Zozo, because Zozo looked like he was going very slow to that corner, but now Zozo's going wide. Ikonen's going to try to squeeze through past his countryman in the GT3 class, and he's up. But now Zozo's going to try to retaliate and try to get back into the lead of the GT3 class. I mean, look at that. I mean, we're at a NASCAR track, so you might as well do some NASCAR tactics. Essentially bump drafting here between himself and Zozo. Zozo trying to bump draft, trying to maybe send him around the outside, trying to maybe do a dummy move and force Rantanen to brake later than he would want to, but that did not work out. That was the attempt. So once again, Rantanen on the soft tires, on the quicker tire, is going to go ahead and jump up into the lead of the GT3 field. The GT3 pole sitter back on top where he believes he belongs. And now it's up to the French squad to respond. We will see if the French squad has anything that they can do about it. They are on newer tires though, and I believe they have quite a lot more fuel, so Rantanen's really going to have to make this gap count if he wants to go in and try to continue to win this race here. Some more moves happening here as Bolden goes and jumps past Rantanen into, well, just ahead of the traffic because it is another cycle for these cars. They're on currently lap 72 of this race. So, thinking about it mathematically, I think these guys could actually beat the lap record. Let me think about this real quick. I'm just gonna go ahead and use, let's use let's use London's time as a bit of a reference. So, some quick maths. So we have about, so about 63 minutes left of this race, right? I'm trying to think about how we can actually do this. So we'll do some quick maths here. So how many laps? Usually I'm usually pretty decent at math, but so let's just do this. So there's about 63 minutes left on the clock. So there's another 42 laps left to go in this, roughly. Now I'm gonna put a big asterisk there because I don't think I entirely did that math correctly. And also there's still gonna be pit stops to factor in, so that's gonna definitely add time to it. But I think there is a potential to actually break that overall lap record. So the metric I used was about 1.5 minutes, which has been around the ballpark that these drivers have been going to, and then I just divided it by the race time. So, divided the race time, which is now 62 minutes. By about 1:30, so that's definitely a give or take. A little bit of a give or take, but and actually we're seeing in chat too that about 112 laps is the prediction for how many laps we're going to do here around Daytona. So I mean that's still it's a new race record, that's for certain. I mean you got to give it to these drivers. Getting 112 laps, 113 laps done in about 3 hours is That's a lot of laps, so I gotta really commend the driver's durability and such. It's just really impressive that these drivers have been fighting so hard and still keeping a similar level of just consistency. As we see consistency, we're gonna jump on board with a battle that's been consistently raging on for the last little bit. It is DJ Games and Method kind of just duking it out here for what is P4 in the GT3 category. So that is a very strong battle that could really take shape here. Very strong battle that could really be a lot of fun to watch, because I know we haven't really seen a lot of these two cars for a good chunk of the race. I mean, usually a lot of the battles that have been happening have been involving the Audis or the Mercedes. And you could honestly put Audi in either category really, but it's pretty much mostly just been Audi and Mercedes taking up a lot of that good spotlight. So we're going to give some love to some of these other cars that are putting on a heck of a battle here. DJ trying to use that Ferrari V8 to just jump past the Lexus. He's got a very good slipstream though, as we are about to hit the 1 hour remaining mark. So the drivers are down to just about 1 hour remaining left. So we are 2/3 of the way done with this race here in Daytona. Just about in about 5 seconds from now, we're going to be down to the final hour of this race. And now we may see some of these drivers kind of pick it up some. So it is 1 hour left to go here. Let's go to do another quick run through our field. We're going to go ahead and just jump to London, who is leading this race pretty consistently, and he's got fastest lap as well, so he's got a potential to take an LMP Grand Slam. And then we go down to Marione in second, Ikonen in third, Bolden in fourth, Cameron in fifth, and then CLR in the last position here. Oh, having a little bit of a moment over the double yellows there for the American driver, but that rounds out our LMP1 field. And then it is Rantanen leading the GT3 field, just ahead of the Sparkline Racing drivers of Zozo and Sparkane. And then it is Method Jr., DJ Games, Astro, and The Racer rounding out our grid here tonight. We've had one retirement so far, and that's pretty much the very quick recap. It seems to be two schools of thought here when it comes to strategy. There's two very different timings of strategy going on here, and you can kind of see it going on here. I think it's actually starting to diverge just a bit. One of the other big stories is just how much this Sparkline Racing team was kind of working together for a bit, and how much that may have cost them at least a little bit of time. I know Rantanen's pace was definitely more geared towards the fact that he is on a faster tire, but I mean, Rantanen's pace is very strong here indeed, so. But he's on less fuel though, so maybe, yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to play out actually when it comes to just the strategy, but. And I agree with that sentiment. It's not over till that checkered flag is waved, until you see that final lap thing on your sign, on your screen. It is never too late to go ahead and push. You can push to your heart's content. And I think there's still a lot of racing left to go here. Let's go ahead and check back in on our fantastic battle here. Lexus v Ferrari. And then Lenonen is going to have to go to get on through, which he does, which is this is a really tough part to get through, but he gets through without a hitch, without an issue. And the number 777 is trying to go in and pull away from this Ferrari. He wants to just make the Spaniard eat his dust, but DJ's got other plans. DJ is going to try to jump ahead in a Ferrari side by side, going into the West Horseshoe. And no change for position, but I mean, DJ is so close that, I mean, he could honestly try to make the pass when we get to this oval part here. So I think that's probably where the pass is going to be made. We may see another late breaker move like we saw earlier with CLR, where he had super late brakes going into the chicane and ended up getting the overtake down there, but we'll see if DJ does that, because I mean, it's a very solid potential that he's going to go ahead and do it. Is he going to send it? No, he's going to try to brake earlier and see if his opponent's going to brake late, which he doesn't. So As you see, just the lights go through. I mean, he's losing time though. I think both of these drivers are indeed losing time just to Sparkane them up ahead. Oh wow, yeah, they're about a minute and a half, so about a lap down actually from our top three. GT3 is the Ferrari gonna go ahead and prance around the outside and try to get a move done. We'll see if the prancing horses got it. No, I don't think it does. I think Method's gonna hold on just for a tad a bit longer. Yep, Method, I think, hold on just for another lap yet. But CLR is going to have to definitely try to jump in here and make a move. Rantanen is into the pits, so he's going to go and lose the position to the two Audis. And I wonder what tire he's going to go ahead and jump on, as we still have about 55 minutes left to go of the race. I want to take a quick bite of my lunch real quick, but the chat prediction was correct. The Finnish driver going to go ahead and slap on a set of soft tires and get gassed up and ready to go. The funny thing is he's really going to only lose position to the two Audis up ahead. He's not going to lose any position to the LMPs, so the LMPs not going to lose any position to anybody else. Because Method is still about a minute and a half behind, still about a lap down. So, really doesn't have much to worry about. Let's check in and see if we got any battles here in LMP. Not at the moment. The closest one here is Bolden catching up to Conan here. Bolden does have a bit more fuel though, so I think he might get this one on strategy. But we're on lap 78 out of what is predicted to be lap 112. We have less than an hour left to go now. It has been a long race for these drivers, and there's still quite a lot of racing left to go. So I know these drivers are definitely going to they're going to probably just go straight to sleep after this, I'd imagine, and I really cannot blame them. So let's go ahead and check the fuel on our leading Audis and the GT3. So Zozo's got about 20%, I'd say. That's a bit of a rough ballpark number. Sparkane's in a bit of a lower spot, so he's definitely within like the 10% range at most. So yeah, I think Sparkane might make a pit stop this lap. Sparkane's probably going to make the pits this lap, I would say, but Zozo might have another lap in him. So I think it's possible that Rantanen's still got a shot at winning this. I think it's like, when it comes to the GT3s, I think it's definitely going to be between these Audis and the Mercedes of Rantanen. I think that's pretty much my pick for like who I think is going to win this thing in terms of the GT3 category. LMP1's a bit more straightforward. I think London's got a really strong shot at winning this. Morone maybe, but I mean, actually, I'm not sure actually, because strategy-wise, Morone is in a bit of a better spot at the moment. But I think it's pretty much between Londonen and Morone for the LMP1 lead. That's my predictions. I'd love to see what your guys' predictions are in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this race? Just let me know in chat, and I will see who it is. Because for my official predictions, I guess if I were to kind of narrow it down, I would probably venture to say, for LMP1, I think it's going to be Lennon. I think that's going to be our driver that's going to go to take victory here. I actually think it's kind of a risky one in terms of strat, but I think it's going to be a all-finish top step. I think Rantanen is going to, just based on pace, he might be able to get these Audis and get a win off of it. But I mean, I think the one for LMP1 is pretty much locked in just about. Granted, once again, still about 50 minutes in this race, so there's still a lot that can go around. But I do think that overall, the the Finnish driver in the Audi up ahead in LP1's got a bit of a easier task than the other cars behind. It's gonna be tough. I mean, I don't think Sparkline Racing is gonna go in and make this easy for Rantanen in the slightest. I really don't think that. I think just that previous stint on, and also the fact that Rantanen did decide to jump on another set of soft tires, I think that might be how he wins this race, just on pure attrition and pace alone. I think that's pretty much going to be his strategy, because I think strategy-wise, I think the Audis are a bit of a better strategy, personally. But when they make their pit stop, I would be pretty surprised if they didn't jump on softs to the end. But that's just a theory. We'll see. So just reading the chat. So Sparkane's going to come into the pits. I'm really curious to see what tire he's going to go in and go on. So actually, depending on this, because here's where my train of thought is now at this stage of the race, in this particular moment. Sparkane has a chance to really be annoying towards Rantanen, in the sense of he could really just back him up and try to slow him down to allow his teammate of Zoro to get a free pit stop. That could be what happens here. He jumped on another set of mediums, so yeah, I'm curious to see how this one's going to play out. We'll jump on board actually with Rantanen and see where he is on track. So yeah, he's definitely going to clear, he's going to clear Sparkane by quite a while, so he's going to clear Sparkane. No issue there. Yeah, I didn't make my predictions earlier that it's going to be an all-finish victory lane for both GT3 and LMP1. But particularly in GT3, I'm not super confident in that answer. Just because, I know the Audis I think the Audis are on a better strategy personally, but it's always hard to kind of predict these kind of things. And granted, predictions have never been my super strong suit anyway, but I think this is going to be a really spicy end to this race. I think it's really going to come down to if Rantanen can make those soft tires last, or if they don't last, can he get the most out of them to allow him to just jump up into position here, as the overall race leader does make a pit stop. So from one Finnish driver to the other, as Lennonen is going to go ahead and stop. He's got 1% of fuel though, so he's in a really rough spot in fuel, but spicy ramen noodles and IEC action. Man, I haven't had spicy ramen in a while. Spicy ramen was actually one of my go-tos when I was still actively working. I would actually just take a cup of the spicy beef ramen to work, and then just kind of use like the little water dispenser, turn on hot, filled up there, and then that was lunch. Pretty much a certified lunch classic, honestly. They're like 69 cents at a lot of stores, so it's a pretty nice price to pay. And honestly, it's pretty good for what it is. So spicy ramen is a pretty solid go-to pick, honestly, when it comes to lunch. It's convenient, it's quick, tastes good, easy enough. So we're gonna go ahead and jump back on board. There's probably gonna be at least one, maybe two more rounds of pit stops, maybe even 3 more rounds of pit stops here left to go in this race. So I think there's gonna be a lot to really kind of go with, as we see the two teammates kind of slipstreaming each other. But I mean, they're lapped cars, so I mean, it's not really going to be a battle for position anytime soon. Astro might be able to try to help his teammate get unlapped, potentially, but that's going to be a bit of a tricky one. Method is going to go ahead and fire off into the pits, so we'll see what the Lexus driver tends to do. I know he's kind of locked in with a pretty rough battle with DJ for a while, but oh, he's out of fuel entirely, so 0%, that's always kind of scary. But I mean, these drivers, they have the stuff kind of mapped out in their heads, and they just kind of manage it towards the end there. And I mean, they pretty much have it all mapped out. They can even map their fuel settings to a bit lower so they can make sure they can manage it. Management is so important. Oh, here we go. Here's a battle for position. Conan and Bolden going down the back straight. And Conan's in the pit. So that battle was exciting, but did not last long at all. Actually, we're going to hop on board with Bolden and check him out for the rest of his lap. And we'll be right back. Alright, so Bolden is into the pits. That was our lap with him. The American driver dropping down the order just a little bit due to his pit stop. So now we're going to go ahead and hop back around, checking on how everyone's doing. Less than 45 minutes left to go in this race. Still a good amount of racing to go. Still a lot that can happen, but let's go and check in on our GT3 battle going on here. So the Audis are once again working together to try to catch Rantanen. Rantanen is about 7 seconds ahead, so Sparkane actually went to the soft tires while his teammate, oh no, they both actually opted for soft tires, so this is going to be a straight up fight to the end for these three. This is going to be like, honestly, this probably is going to be the battle to watch here for the GT3s. I mean, this is going to be the pinnacle of just GT3 strategy battles coming to light. This is going to be a very entertaining battle here, because I mean right now, because I mean you may look at that time and think like, oh, it's only about like, it's still like 7.5 seconds. How is this battle going to be interesting anytime soon? Soon? Maybe not. But in the case of the race itself and all the implication it has, and just considering the fact that we have less than an hour left to go in this race, then maybe another, and then maybe another few laps, and maybe like one more pit stop round, maybe two. I mean, there's a lot that's going on here, because we have to remember, Rantanen pretty much launched off the order because he was running on a more aggressive soft tire strategy compared to Sparkane and Zozo, the Sparkline drivers. But now the Sparklines have matched that aggression and matched that pace, and now they're on the soft tires. So this really is just going to come down to who can keep those soft tires alive the best. That is going to be the question, because I mean Rantanen is on relatively new soft as well, but he's got less fuel than the Audis by quite a healthy margin. So, and he's actually losing time to Sparkane and Zozo. So he's really got to make this pace happen. He's really got to go ahead and put foot to the floor and pedal to the metal if he wants to win this thing. It's very tricky. I think Rantanen still has a good chance of winning this, but he's got to play his cards right. He's got to go for it. And he's really got to make sure he just doesn't make a mistake. Because if it's one mistake, then it's a wrap. Then it'll pretty much just be the Sparkline drivers kind of battling it out for a position. Because they'll both have to pit later than Rantanen anyway, so Rantanen ideally is going to want to keep this gap going. That's going to be his main goal for the rest of the race, is just manage that gap, keep that gap going, and just try to hold on to the end of this race. Or at least hold on to the next pit stop cycle. Because I think there's probably going to be like 1 or 2 more pit stop cycles. And I mean, for the LMPs, I mean, it's unless Lennon gets stuck by traffic by a considerable margin, I think Lennon's got this kind of bagged up. Because Lennon does not need to pit again, I don't think, for the rest of this race. Maybe he might do one more stop, but the Audis have been pretty good about like spacing out their pit stops. I mean, then again, they're LMP cars, so they're naturally going to be a bit easier on fuel than their GT3 counterparts. But still, all things considered, I think it's still going to be a bit of a strategy race here, but I think the race in GT3 is going to be just a tad closer. I think that's pretty much where it's going to go ahead and end up at. So, I mean, there's still so much that can happen in this race. I mean, you never know how things are going to play out as Mirone and Ikonen do fire off into the pits. Front wing damage there from Ikonen, so that's definitely more of a maintenance stop than the actual like full pit stop. But yeah, I think that might be Ikonen's chances of a podium pretty much wrapped up. So Ikonen not likely going to go in to get a podium here in tonight's race. I mean, then again, he just didn't seem to be as on the ball as his teammates were, or as his countrymen were when it comes to the LMPs. So yeah, I mean, Daytona's a tough track. It doesn't play nice, and it's really, if your setup's wrong, then it's really easy just to kind of tumble down the order. But there's also times where you could be just really good at Daytona, your setup could be right, but it just wasn't your day. So many factors go into racing. And I think if you're a Conan, you're pretty much now at the stage of like, well, might as well just go ahead and just kind of bring it home, maybe try to get past one more car, try not to lose any more spots, and then just hit it again next time at the Nürburgring. I mean, I don't really see him getting up into the podium positions because Bolden just pitted not too long ago, and Cameron Hill also just pitted in a little bit before the other two. So I think in general, I think LMPs are pretty much just wrapped up where they are, personally. I'm not expecting a change in position for any of these LMP1 cars. I could be wrong, but I am pretty much anticipating that LMPs are pretty much just going to stay the way they are. No real change on this front. But Husky does bring up a good point in chat. The Sunshine State should have the sun appearing here pretty shortly, so that's going to add a little bit of extra light and a little bit of extra heat to this track, so the tires are going to degrade a bit quicker and get up to temperatures a bit quicker with the Florida sun, although it's still expected to be pretty cloudy, so it's still going to be up to like cloud 5 or cloud 6, I think it's supposed to get back up to, but it is still all to play for here. So Sparkane is now within 3 seconds. Let's take a look at the lap times. Almost about 1.3 seconds quicker than Rantanen was on that last lap. So the Audis are definitely fighting for it. They're not slipstreaming anymore, but Sparkane is on the charge. He's found that competitive spark, threw it in his engine, and he's ready to charge after Rantanen here. We'll see the lap times again at this delta. So it's a 147.8 versus a 147.2, so not as big of a gap, not as big as of a time differential as it was previously, but all things considered, it was still there. It was about like a 0.6 second gap, roughly. Yeah, about 0.6 of a second is about that ballpark. Maybe 6.8 tenths of a second. is probably the exact number, now that I think about it, but 0.68. It's a good gap to close. I mean, you're closing that gap pretty surely, but I don't think not sure if it'll be enough, honestly, for the Audi. But here's the thing, catching up to Rantanen and passing Rantanen are going to be two completely separate things. And Rantanen is going to have to pit before you. I mean, you could go for the undercut here and try to force Rantanen into making a reaction, but I'm not sure how well that's going to work. I think, well, the LMP class is pretty much, I think it's a surefire win for London, and I don't even know if he's got a pit for, he's probably got one more pit stop that he's going to have to do, but other than that, it's pretty solid. Let's actually go on board with a GT3 car. We'll show a little bit of extra love to this Lexus real quick. He does have the class leader just directly behind him that he's going to have to go ahead and let through. But overall, I mean, it's been a pretty solid race here. I mean, strategy has really come alive here in the final about 35 minutes here of the race. So, I mean, I think it's really just coming to a head here. Oh, that's a big moment there. That could have... Oh, that's into the wall. And it reset him even. I think that was big damage on the table. Let's go ahead and see if we can try to get a replay on that. So, this is from Lennonen's view, actually. So I wanted this just kind of wrapped up the race. So Lennonen is going through, and then just, Sparkane just kind of, it's kind of a tricky one, because it looked like, you can see it from like both angles, you can see that Lennonen made a really risky dive up the inside to try to get past the Audi before they started the horseshoes. And then you can also go to Sparkane and kind of see like, well, Sparkane, it looked like Sparkane turned on him a bit too. So I mean, there's two real ways to look at it. I mean, honestly, probably the truth is probably a little bit of both. Sparkane might have turned in not expecting Lennonen to be there, and then Lennonen just fired it up the inside like he was trying to overtake for a championship. So I think that could have just wrapped up Sparkane's race here. I think that's what might have happened. Yeah, I think the sentiment is pretty clear on that one, that Rantanen was definitely going to be in a bit of trouble. So yeah, that was rough. Kind of hard to put the blame on someone on that one. I mean, you can really blame either side for that one, from my perspective. I think overall that will probably just get ruled as a racing incident. But, I mean, Sparkane already made up about 2 seconds though, so it may not be over yet. Because remember, Rantanen had a bit of an issue as well, and around that same part of the track when he just drove wide and made his Mercedes-Benz a lawnmower. But he did pretty much call that right back up, so... And Sparkane is kind of calling this back up too, so maybe there's still a chance for Sparkane to get his retribution, all things aside. So we did get confirmation that the incident will be investigated after the race, so it might be a time penalty for whoever it may be. Kind of leaning more to Lennonen for that one. But it's going to be tricky because as a GT3 car, you're supposed to get out of the way from the LMP cars, but that was also a dive. And honestly, kind of an unnecessary dive if you ask me, just up the inside trying to get past that Audi. I mean, here's the other big thing is that Lennonen really wasn't under any, like, pressure. Because the other car that's behind him is on a very similar strategy, maybe pitted in a lap or two later. So, Mirone really wasn't even a big threat, so he didn't really need to dive for that move on the Audi. granted, I'm not a steward or a race director, so this is definitely going to be a case of something that's investigated well after the race. So we'll see what the stewards decide on that front. But I honestly was not expecting that. Very unfortunate moment there for Sparkane, but we'll check back in on Sparkane, see how he's got it back up to 2 seconds, so this might still be within the realm of possibility for Sparkane here. It is a personal best lap. A personal best lap. So we will see how this plays out. Astros into the pits. We'll actually do our final onboard, our final ASMR lap, if you will, of the race. We got about half an hour left to go. We're gonna go ahead and jump on board with. Actually, I'll leave it up to chat. Who do you guys want to jump on board with for about a lap and a half, or maybe 2 laps? Who do you guys want to jump on board with for a bit as we take our last little temporarily loud engines moment? I'll leave that one up to chat. I mean, you guys have been awesome. You guys have been troopers throughout this 3-hour-long endurance race, so I think it's only fair if you guys got the choice of unfortunately, if I do not know your username, so if you are in this race and you'd like to provide me the name that you're under, then I will happily fill out that request and go ahead and get it done. But yeah, there is a lot of racing still left to go here. I mean, less than 30 minutes left on the clock. Everything is going on. Rantanen's into the pit, so he's going to try to call it early. But here's the question. Does Zozo, well, more important, does Sparkane kind of follow suit? Oh, you're the founder, I see. So I'm assuming you want to go on board with one of your drivers. So we can go ahead and fulfill that request. Oh, I remember we went on board with one of these guys earlier. I want to say it was Zozo, but actually this will be a bit of a good reference lap, just considering everything that's happening. So we're going to go ahead and step aside, jump on board with Sparkane for at least about a lap and a half, maybe 2, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned, everyone. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Oh, a little bit of contact maybe between Sparkane and Method? Maybe, I mean, it is a lap GT car that's gonna have to go ahead and get through, but I mean, let's see, let's just check how everything is playing out so far. Londonin is gonna be on full afterburners now. He needs to go ahead and get past these cars and try to go after Sparkane. But I know good and well that Zozo is not going to make it easy. He wants it to be a Sparkline Racing 1-2, and that is very much on the cards right now, despite the incident that happened earlier with Sparkane and Lanonen. We'll check back in with the GT or LMPs, as the gap is closing up a bit here in LMPs, so maybe. But also, we have eclipsed our overall lap record here at Daytona. We have eclipsed it now. It is lap 97 for the LMPs. And we still got about 25 minutes left to go. So, a new official lap record in the DRA. And boy, oh boy, what a milestone that is. I mean, the fact that these drivers have went for almost 100 laps straight, with the only breaks really coming from the pit stops, which even then is only about a minute, roughly 30 seconds to 50 seconds as it was given earlier in chat. But whew, man, these drivers have been through it, haven't they? Much respect to all these drivers. I mean, let's go do another quick run through of our field. We'll just do the podium for right now. It is Lanonen, Morone, and Cameron Hill in the top three, and then heading down to our GT3 field, it is the Sparkline Racing duo of Sparkane and Zozo with pole sitter Rantanen in P3. It is all to play for here. Quite a bit of a gap, but once again, anything can happen here in racing. And I think, well, I mean, if you're Sparkline, you need to manage. Manage is pretty much your key word, is manage. Gotta manage your tires. Actually, more importantly, you really gotta manage your fuel. Your tires are probably good to the end of the race, but your fuel, on the other hand, is probably not. And I think with Rantanen kind of going in significantly earlier than the rest of his two main rivals just up the road, is that I think he might be a bit better off on the fuel front. So, once again, this may be about one off a strategy as opposed to just pure race pace. So, I mean, it's very possible that that is exactly what we're seeing here tonight. The sun should be rising here soon in Daytona from what I've been told, although the sun hasn't really risen just yet. So maybe it's staying at nighttime for the rest of the race, potentially, as Morone does go to get past DJ. So do we think LMGT can reach 100 before the race ends? That's a good one. They're at 86, so they would need to do another, they would have to kind of push it. I think there's enough time for LMGT to get to 100. So, I mean, that would be fantastic if we could get both classes to over 100 laps in this race. I mean, it's going to really depend on just how much these drivers want to push and how much these drivers want to manage. Because right now, I think if you're Sparkline, you need to manage. You need to manage, although Sparkline did set a blue sector, which might be the fastest of GT3s, we don't know. That'll be a stat we'll have to go through and kind of look at, but I mean, there's a lot of things that could potentially go sideways for any of these drivers. Sparkane may get sent to the shuttle room by an LMP again, or I mean, you can say the same about the LMPs. Lanonen might get sent to the shuttle room, or even other things that could potentially like hamper the races of these drivers. I mean, Lanonen is about to start lap 100 of this race, so he's making his way through the back straight now. He's going to put the foot to the floor and go ahead and begin lap number 100 of this race. It is a lap. It is 3 digits here. Lap 100 out of the predicted 112 to 113. And boy, oh boy, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a spicy race coming down to the end. It's going to come down to strategy. Sparkane's into the pits, but how long is he going to take in the pits? How much more fuel is the French driver going to take? Is he going to throw on a new set of soft tires or just stick with the new ones? There's so much that you can consider. So many ways, and it's really just diminishing returns here. Is it going to be better for you to lose time now and get the soft tires to make up that time later? Or is it better to save that time now, but lose it later? Well, the answer is he's going to throw on a new set of softs for the final 20 minutes up to this race. And how much is he going to fuel up is the question. Is Lanonen or is Rantanen going to go ahead? Rantanen is ahead. He does clear the Audi. Oh no, he did not clear the Audi. I thought he did. Oh, that's right. I forget that Daytona has Daytona here in Gran Turismo does have a weird like teleporting thing it likes to do when you exit the pit lane. Well, actually, that's on a lot of tracks really. I mean, the pit lanes in this game are kind of weird, I will say. I mean, the Le Mans pit lane is longer than it has any right to be. I know the infamous one of Spa being like the worst pit lane in the game in terms of just how long it takes, especially if you do the endurance layout. Yeah, I know that the pit lane stuff is kind of an enigma when it comes to Gran Turismo, and then also we know that Watkins Glen and Road Atlanta have like the worst areas for pit lane punishments, so yeah, it's a bit tricky. Yeah, Road Atlanta's, I hate the Road Atlanta pit lane, I'm just going to be honest. It's a fun track, I love commentating on it, love driving on it. It's really fun in the Super Formula, but yeah, it's pit lane. The entire thing surrounding that pit lane just sucks. Maybe in GT8 we might get better pit lanes, that's just what I hope. Because the pit stops in Gran Turismo 7, I mean, they're just, some of them are rough, some of them are pretty good though. Like, the Monza pit stop is pretty solid. Doesn't have any weird shenanigans that I'm aware of. The Nürburgring GP also is kind of the same way, where it doesn't have any weird shenanigans. The one in Tokyo Expressway is fantastic. I love that pit lane, because pretty much you can just fly straight in off the track and you're good to go. Nord 1 is a really weird one. Not even just because it has any weird, like, shenanigans like the teleportation stuff that Gran Turismo likes. It's just the pit lane is on the opposite side of the track. So, like, it's basically where if you've never driven Nord 1 and you've never tried to do a pit stop around that track, so imagine this. It is basically like, say, the start finish line is where Marone is, but the pit lane is back over on the other side of the track. So, say the start line is on pretty much where the other drivers are, and then where DJ is where the pit lane is. They're like on complete opposite sides of the track. I don't understand why that is, but alright, so we do have some more sauce in chat. Marone is under oh, this actually could be pretty spicy. I meant to say Lenonen, it might be under investigation for the moment earlier with Sparkane, and Marone is catching up, so this race might not be done and dusted just yet for LMP, like I thought it was earlier, because Marone is catching. He's got more fuel and tires to him than Lenonen does, so things to kind of keep an eye out with. But Rantanen is, let's actually check those last laps real quick. So 88 was a 146.345. Sparkane was a only about a tenth of a second difference though in favor of Rantanen. But that's not enough. You need to be catching more than just a tenth per lap. You probably need to be catching about, well, I mean maybe, but I mean, here's the thing. Zozo still needs to pit, I think. So Zozo I think still needs one more stop. Or Zozo might even just turn around and win this thing. Maybe Sparkane will take on that wingman role and just try to hold back Rantanen as long as he humanly can. So Zozo could get a win here. I mean, it's still up for grabs, honestly. Like, I think both classes now are pretty much up for grabs at this stage of the race. We're down to about the final, soon to be final 15 minutes of the race, so you're really going to get about, 10 laps at most. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less around that ballpark, but overall, you're going to have, there's not a lot of racing left. I mean, 15 minutes compared to 3 hours is not a lot of time, really, realistically speaking, so there's still so much at play for these drivers. I mean, the Phoenix competition car might have risen from the ashes and potentially rising onto that top step of the podium. There's still so much to play for. Cameron actually has a good chance of getting a podium too, but Bolden, who is, I believe, actually no, Bolden's got nothing compared to Cameron Hill here, so Cameron Hill might even jump up into a podium spot as well. So, once again, there's a lot of things that could get shaken up here. Lanonen, he's still got a very solid chance of winning this race, but he's under investigation. He's under investigation for the incident earlier with Sparkane. Sparkane could still win this race, but he might be under investigation as well, but here we go. It is Rantanen and Sparkane. These two have done battle before, and they're going to do battle again. Can Rantanen go ahead and make his way through and go ahead and try to chase for the win here? Is it possible? The Sparkline drivers have been doing very good tonight, but Sparkane may be under investigation, same with Lennonen. So, those drivers are both under investigation for the same incident, and an LMP1 car is going to give Rantanen the chance he needs to get into the lead, or get into the P2 of this race. I think that LMP2 of Morone might have just been the saving grace for Rantanen. Maybe, but here's the thing. Sparkane has got less fuel, but more tires. I mean, none of these drivers need to make a pit stop. Sparkane to the inside. Contact between the two rivals. And lots of bump drafting in between. But it doesn't get much further than that. The two drivers, I think they'll probably just get written off as a racing incident. I mean, if anything, that actually helped out Sparkane, so I mean, we'll see how this goes. But we know that the Mercedes has excellent top speed. It does good on the high-speed tracks, like Daytona. We know good and well that Rantanen's got the speed, he got the pace, does he have the move? Not quite. Not enough real estate there. Sparkane putting on some fancy defensive driving. Rantanen is in the grass a bit. He's going to try to hook it around the outside. Try to get a switch back, but Sparkane renames it a Parkane as he parks his car there, but it's not going to be enough to stop the charging Finn. The flying Finn in GT3 is up in the second, but it did give a lot of time to Zozo. Can Zozo make it to the end of this race without a pit stop? I think he can. Oh, what has happened here? What has happened here? A bit of a moment involving Sparkane and Rantanen and an LMP1. Let's get that on replay. We need to check this one out via replay just to see how this happened. So, here we go here. Sparkane on the brakes. Bit of a tap. Oh, Rantanen trying to get up the inside there. So I think this was earlier when Rantanen actually moved to that position. And then coming through. Oh, that was a bit of a late dive there for Sparkane, and then Sparkane just kind of parked it there after pushing Rantanen wide, and CLR ended up getting tapped, or pretty much had nowhere to go. 1 point of damage. It is front aero damage, so not the worst, but still not ideal to say the least. And I mean, CLR is already in the back of the pack when it comes to LMP1, so this is just kind of adding insult to injury now. I mean, But I think that incident might have just given Zorro the race win here. So, I mean, even if Sparkane gets a penalty for that incident, Zozo's got a really good chance of still just winning this race on merit. But we'll see how this goes. Still a lot of racing left to go. And Rantanen and Sparkane are still going to duke it out here. Sparkane trying to force something to happen, but Rantanen is... I think Rantanen... Oh, bit of a snap from Rantanen! That's going to give Sparkane a chance to jump back in and make it a 1-2 for Sparkline. But is it going to happen? Not quite. Bit of a snap there too for Dowdy. You can tell that these drivers are pushing. They're giving it their all. They are fighting tooth and nail. Are we going to see a pass here? On to Rantanen from Sparkane. We'll see. Going to try to get it going into the bus stop. Trying to defend. Not enough room. They're coming to the chicane. Sparkane's got the position back. But for how long is the question? This is dicey. What about up front? Up front, the overall battle for the lead is right here. And actually, Morone does get past Lenonen. So Morone might actually win this race after all. 10 minutes on the clock. It's still on the play for here. See if we can get a replay of that particular pass. No, we're just a bit too late, unfortunately, but a pass for the lead did happen. Oh, contact between the Mercedes and the Alpine. Or Alpine. The Audi, wrong car with an A. But, ooh, this is dicey stuff here in the closing stages. It's still on the play for. Ooh, I don't even know where to keep my eyes. Because, I mean, this battle's still going on. This time battle in GT3 is still going on here. And then you have the battle for the lead overall. It's tough to really try to pick where to keep my eye on. For now, we'll jump back to the LMP battle. Just give LMP some love, because I know we put a lot of attention towards those GT3s. So Lenonen is going to go in and try to get closer and closer to the back of Morone. I think he's maybe got it on pace, but I don't know. There's also that impending investigation, a bit of a wiggle there from both cars, I believe. Touching a little bit of grass. Touching grass is a great thing in the real world, but do not do it with a set of slick tires. It's not going to bode well for you. As CLR does make their way into the pit lane, going in and swapping out, probably trying to fix that damage up as well, and getting just enough fuel to wrap up the race. Interesting stuff here. I know Ray Racers was contact with actually it was that moment where he got kind of stuck between the battle between Rantanen and Sparkane. So that's where that damage kind of came from for the American driver in the LMP category. Fixing that front arrow and back out on the circuit. Well, here's the thing about this, right? Rantanen is... Oh, Sparkane and Rantanen trying to battle it out again. So I think Zozo's got this race wrapped up now. I think just about. Unless Zozo's a bit of a moment. And once again, these two are really not playing nice with each other. They really do not like each other at this point of the race. And considering how hard they have fought against each other and how tired they must be, I can understand it. The rivalry between these two is going to be legendary. Rantanen firing it up the inside, a little bit of a love tap. It's going to force his way through. And these two are not pulling any punches anymore. But while these two are boxing like it's a dream match between Prime Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, Zozo is really just kind of quietly slinking away up in the distance. I don't know if we're going to actually reach lap 100 in this category, in the GT3s. Maybe. It's going to be a stretch, but... Oh, Cameron and this are under, are also under investigation. So, a few incidents are going to be under investigation after this race, so... I mean, this order may not even stand, but... Morone is in the lead by over a second now, so I think if Morone can avoid any kind of incidents, got more tires, got more fuel, so I think Maroney's got a shot at winning this race here, taking the overall win for Phoenix competition, and it will be a mighty fine win if it can get it to stick. Mighty fine win indeed. So we're gonna see about this gap here. 5 seconds now is the gap between Zozo and Rantanen. Rantanen's still gonna be fighting with Sparkane. These two are just not gonna give it up, are they? I think these two are gonna battle right to the checkered flag. Sparkline looking at a potential 1-2 here, but it'll be tricky because, I mean, you got Daytona behind, and Rantanen is clearly getting a bit frustrated now just with Sparkane's defense, which is kind of, I think, fair on both ends. I think Sparkane is kind of getting frustrated too because I'm sure Sparkane wanted the win, but now he's pretty much relegated to defending for his teammate. But I mean, with how hard Rantanen is pushing and how feisty he's being, I mean, alongside Sparkane, I mean, these two, I think they're just frustrated at each other. I mean, it's good for Zozo because Zozo's off to go off into the distance, but Zozo is actually kind of losing time now to Sparkane and Rantanen behind, so Sparkane might have a chance of winning this. Rantanen's still within the realm of possibility as we're down to the final 5 minutes left to go. More contact between the two. These two are not playing nice anymore. I mean, Rantanen's flashing the headlights. I mean, Sparkane's putting up a mighty fine bit of defense there. Bolden's into the pits, so he can make it to the end. Rantanen trying to go deep, and that's a big moment there. Sparkane turning into Rantanen right there. Oh no, we need a replay on that. So I just want to see this from this perspective. We'll look at this from multiple perspectives. So they're going through the bus stop chicane here, pretty close. Contact again. The lights are flashing. And then what I'm looking for is I want to see if he turns up. So he's thinking about trying to go for the high line, but then he goes for the low line. Oh, from this perspective, it looks like Sparkane just turns right into him. Now I'm going to look at it from the other perspective. Now I want to look at it from this perspective here. So this is Sparkane. He's going through tap, and then I want to see, because it's always different with different perspectives, and I'm sure their actual onboards are going to have a bit of a different thing too. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm gonna have to put that. I mean, granted, I'm not a steward by any stretch, but I'm gonna have to put that one on Sparkane. I think Sparkane kind of did that one to himself, because at least from that POV, it looks like he turned in on him. From that POV, at least. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what happened there. I'm not sure why Zozo actually is that far backed up, but Zozo is now within a second, so I mean, with 2.5 minutes left to go in this race, I mean, it's less than 2 seconds between both classes, so Zozo now has got to really put on the defense of his life. He needs to become the French Minister of Defense if he wants to win this race for Sparkline Racing. I mean, there's a chance that he can win, but a bit of a wiggle there, and through, not quite. I was about to go through goes Rantanen, but not quite. Not enough real estate there to make it through. I think Zozo might be just struggling on tires a bit. Oh yeah, I mean, just look at that back right. That back right is shredded. I mean, that thing is basically more cooked than a well-done steak. So I think this is all for. I think Rantanen just needs to get the pass done. And oh, what could have been for this team? Oh, that's a bit of a dicey one. I'd be more inclined to put that one on Rantanen versus Zozo there, but ultimately that didn't result in any kind of major incident. Rantanen's going to go and get a clean pass through. Oh, they're touching. Oh, please do not let this be a repeat. I want this to end cleanly and through hard-fought battle. So that's definitely going to be an incident that's going to be reviewed. Zozo's gonna try to fire it around the outside. He's running low on fuel. Rantanen is gonna hold on to it for now. I think Rantanen might have a shot at winning this whole race. I mean, it's pretty much been Rantanen versus the Sparkline drivers. I think this might be the end. We're down to less than a minute left to go. Zozo's got a slipstream. Zozo's gonna fire it around the outside. Is he gonna go to get the move done? He's got the speed, he's got the real estate, but this corner is gonna favor Rantanen just a bit. But we know that you can take a move around the outside. What is Rantanen gonna do? What is Zozo gonna do? Zozo's gonna break deep. They're both gonna go deep. Both deep, but Rantanen, I think, just wins the grip battle and keeps that position. We're down to the final 30 seconds of the race. We're gonna be switching tabs because this battle up here is getting very tight too. So it's gonna be close. It's gonna be between Rantanen and Zozo. Morone versus Lenninen. This is gonna get down to the wire. It's the final lap of the race. It's make or break for these drivers. Zozo thinking about trying to force a move up the inside through the West Horseshoe. He's got the move. He's got the inside line. He's not going to play nice. He's going to force Rantanen to go around the edge. And it's the final lap of the race. The timer has hit 0. And that's a bit of a track cut there for Morone just to try to get a bit of an extra gap. But now they're making their way through the final corner of the race. And now it is... He's out of fuel though. If his car runs out of fuel, then there's a good chance that Lenninen might just pass him. We'll see. This fuel's going to come to the end. The checker flag is waved. Morone wins the 3 hours of Daytona. Brought to you by FUELCAN.SHOP. And it's going to be close. They're going to the bus stop chicane now. Can Sparkane Racing still get a win here? We wrapped up the LMP battle, but now the GT3s are going to fight for it. This is the last shot. Can Rantanen do it? Can Zozo do it? Who's going to get it here right at the end? This is going to be tight. Oh, they're fighting. They're swerving. They're trying to find any kind of opening, any kind of gap. And it's going to be... It's close. And I think just barely. It's going to be tight. Zozo wins in GT3 through pure attrition. The Sparkline Racing driver comes across the line in P1. Oh, by a 1/10 of a second, we have our GT3 winner. By a singular 1/10 of a second. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and try to run through real quick. This is pretty much our driver lineup, just going through and checking all the cars as the race just goes ahead and ends. And then, here we go. Your winner is that man of Morone. He wins overall, but now we're going to have to go ahead and try to get through this. We're going to save the replay first. I'll share real quick. Just gonna do a quick little description there. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and, alright, if you'll let me do this thing. We're gonna go ahead and just take a look at our results. File too big to be uploaded. Alright, cool, good to know. But man, what a race that was. We're gonna go ahead and run through our results here real quick. We'll do a quick little run through. It is, so in our LMP category, it is Morone, Lenninen, Idkonen, and then Hill, and then Ray Racer. We know we had Bolden. I think Bolden actually left right before we could get these results. So then our race winner in the GT3s, we have Zozo, Rantanen, Sparkane, Astro, Method, DJ Games, the racer, Bolden actually is there. It's counted as a DNF. And then Guerrero is our actual full retirement. I think he did. You'll have to go back and watch the VOD for it, but yeah, it's gonna be a Bolden had to go to an ACC race, so fastest lap overall does belong to Lenonen. And then we're gonna go ahead and take a look at these drivers here. We'll see who's got the fastest for GT3. So it is it's Rantanen with a 1:44 fastest lap in GT3. So that's that's going to wrap up the race here today, guys. Wow, my voice decided to hold on to the end and give out too, just like some of the drivers' fuel loads. But anyways, that's going to be it from us here today at the Discord Racing Association. What a final lap that was. I mean, it was a battle in LMP, it was a battle in GT3. Whew. These drivers are, I mean, there's still investigations to go around, so these results are likely not set in stone, but that is pretty much going to be it here. So, on behalf of the Discord Racing Association and all the drivers, thank you so much for tuning on in to the FUELCAN.SHOP 3 hours of Daytona here at Daytona International Speedway in Central Florida. It is going to be absolutely amazing to see this race back again. And then next time we will be racing, it'll be at the Nürburgring for a 90-minute race. So on behalf of everybody, my name is Rekkas, aka Patrick Coleman. I've been your host and commentator for today's race. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.